Okay, what is going on, everybody? RogersBase here, and welcome to my live reaction and review for the latest One Piece chapter. However, today's stream is going to be very special for a couple reasons. One, first off, check out my shirt that I'm wearing. I've got the new red-haired pirate shirt for Film Red. Uniqlo just sent this over. I figured I would wear this for my reaction today. Check this out. It's got all the members of the red-haired pirates on the back, so I figured I would do that. So thank you to Uniqlo and Crunchyroll for sending those my way. Two, we're going to be doing my live reaction to 1064, but then, when the chapter reaction ends, I have a very, very special guest for my review and theory portion, and that is the one and only Parvision. Parvision's going to be joining me. We're going to do a whole dual review. He's going to be here live when we do the thumbnail reveal, and we're going to do a theory discussion, and then we are going to be doing my first ever YouTube raid at the end of the stream, because we are then going live on Parv's channel for a stream collab, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Today is going to be a very big One Piece stream. So sit back, relax, get your cup of coffee, get your morning tea. It is going to be a good one. I've also heard this chapter is going to be a good one, and so that's perfect. I'm doing a collab stream. Hopefully it's a good chapter, and everyone's saying goated collab. Excellent. All right, well, let's do this. Let's get right into this. Let me open up my iPad, go on Viz, make sure that it's already unlocked. Hope everyone's doing lovely this morning, by the way. Okay, 1064. Boom, we're already here. Look at that. 1064 Egghead. Oh! Whoa! Wait a minute. I literally clicked and then boom, and it's Kuzan. Okay. Okay, yeah, this is going to be good. This is going to be good. All right. I'm going to put I'm going to hold the iPad, I think, for the time being. Okay, hold on. Wow, okay, was not expecting that frame one. But here we go. Confirmation of the stuff we've been talking about in the last few streams. Here we are. Kuzan next to Von Augur, though, who we just saw in the other chapter. So this man is obviously using his teleport warp fruit or whatever. Here we go. Germa double sixes. It's so weird to see Kuzan next to him, too, with the... I'm sorry, my eyes are just absorbing everything differently. Germa double sixes, An Emotionless Excursion, Volume 22, Blackbeard Pirates, Kuzan, and Augur. So obviously they're kidnapping Pudding, which makes a lot of sense. Third eye, they need somebody to read the poneglyphs. Not a huge surprise. I was not expecting to see Kuzan frame one, though. That was genuinely a shock. But okay, awesome. So confirmation, that is who did that to Cracker. That is who did that to Cacao Island. Here we are. Von Augur and Kuzan. That also explains way back, like 10 chapters ago or whatever, when we saw the two people standing there, and I was like, oh, it's got to be Germa, and then we saw the next cover page, and it was like Ichiji and Niji, and I'm like, see, there you go, it was Germa. Confirmation, no, it was not Germa. RogersBase takes another L. It was indeed Blackbeard Pirates. It was Kuzan, and it was Von Augur. Wow. Wow. Look, L after L. Perfect. By the way, for anyone who wants to know, RogersBase's biggest L of all time stream happens this Wednesday, this upcoming Wednesday. Tomorrow, we're going to be uploading my vlog from New York Comic-Con, showing off all the One Piece stuff. Tuesday is going to be Genshin, as per usual. Wednesday is going to be the biggest L of all time stream. So if you've been waiting to see me dressed up like Bon Clay, reacting to a bunch of stuff that I don't want to react to, and listening to you guys roast me, that's going to be a good stream. So look forward to it this upcoming Wednesday. Perfect. All right. Anyway, let's do this. 1064. And we're and we're not off-screening Blackbeard and Law. This chapter's already doing good things. I turned the page, bada bing, bada boom, there's Blackbeard. Oda? Good. Okay. Oh, wait. My app was breaking. All right, here we go. And you got Blackbeard there. Run all you like. There'll be no escape. And he's on the back of Stronger. And Law's screaming, Hakugan, take the Polar Tang. You got it. So, Hakugan on the back, holding down the submarine. Shachi, Penguin into the sea. Sure thing. Take this then. Full force. Blackbeard's going in with the... Yo, Re-room. Amputate. Slicing stronger in half. That's my guy, Law. Oh, I'm so glad I had this ready. After yesterday's stream, we did a whole stream on YouTube playing Persona, and there was a whole quiz saying about what my weapon of choice would be, and I said it would be a katana. Yo, I got the katana at the ready, too. This is fire. This is fire. All right. Here we go. Re-room, amputate. And you got stronger getting sliced. I didn't hear that your powers could do that. Is that an awakened technique? Tremor, crush, yo, re-room. Yo! This shot over the island, too. Oh, man, when this is animated, this is going to be so good. Yesterday was Mario Rabbids, Roger. You're right, it was Persona stream on Friday. Bro, that's a sign that I've been doing too much content. You're right, Rob. I'm forgetting what day I streamed what. You're right. Go watch all my other content. I got my VODs channel, I got my Twitch channel. Go watch all that stuff, everybody, all right? But now is One Piece time, so enough. Here we go. All right. It's a shockwave from the Quake Man. Here we go. And you just got Blackbeard zeh-ha-haing in the background. Yo. All the other members of the Heart Pirates trembling. Damn it. Are you dead, Stronger? You were a good horse. You know Stronger's not dead. Look, the reason I know Stronger's not dead is because we saw a boar get sliced in half, bleeding and everything in the Wano flashback, and Oda literally stitched him together. And it was through the half of his face. So there's no way. Stronger's fine. Stronger's fine. So he's throwing some apples. Look out for the exploding apples. By the way, very cute that they're bringing the exploding apples back. I did that as a recipe during one of those One Piece chow-downs last year. We actually made the exploding apples with the cinnamon in them. They were very delicious. Go look that up. Here we go. Look out for exploding apples. He's underground. Okay, this man really inflated, but all right. Here we go. Splash, and then sucking up all the water. Boom. Shooting it right out. Now, I'm wondering, though, is that a devil? Oh, no, that can't be a devil fruit power because he's literally underwater and swimming. So interesting. All right. Maybe this is why they call him Penguin then. He's sucking up all the water and then shooting it back out. Bam! Boom! Hitting Doc Q. Doc Q looks shocked by this. Don't mess with folks born and raised in a frigid North Blue port. So we got Penguin and Shachi fighting Doc Q right now. You won't get the best of us in a sea battle. We're going to sink that ship of yours. Jean Bart, sniper at 3 o'clock. Protect the captain. I've got him. Jean Bart holding him down too. K-Room. Law swapping again. Well. And Bart standing in front of the shot. A tough guard to break. Yo! I'm glad that they're actually showing the other Law pirates though. I wasn't sure how Law was going to be able to take on the Blackbeard pirates with the other Heart pirates that we've seen so far. Because I wasn't thinking that Jean Bart, Beppo, Penguin, and Shachi would be able to even withstand one attack. And yet here they are blocking Von Auger's sniper shots. Yo, okay. Shock Will. Even Blackbeard is like, what is this? What is this? Blah! And he's getting stabbed right through the middle? Oh, man. This is what happens when you charge in without a plan. They're actually stabbing through Blackbeard. Whoa! Warp. Shall we return to the ship, Commodore? Yo, they're actually beating Blackbeard. No. You fool, stay on the offensive. And he's laughing again, bleeding, landing right down now. Okay, Blackbeard versus Law. We're going to 1v1 this. So, all your officers have powers now. And you got Blackbeard huffing and wheezing. That shot right there of Blackbeard getting stabbed right through, it's fire. Oh man, Law fans are eating good today, let me tell you. All right. All your officers have powers now, which means they all share the same weakness, the sea. And he's saying the benefits are worth the risk. That's how devil fruits work. Look, Law though is saying, look, Beppo and Penguin and Shachi, Jean Bart, My guys don't have devil fruit, so we can take you on. How is the penguin sucking up the water, though, and shooting it out like a little exploding fireball thing is seriously wild. Him doing that to Doc Q, Stronger getting sliced in half. I'm going to be real, this is not how I expected this fight to go, at all. So I'm assuming we're going to jump back after this then. Or we're not! Or we're not! What? Or we're not, and we're actually going to continue. That moment where he's like, you cruise a bunch of devil fruit users, and he goes, you know, they all have the same weakness, and he goes, that's how the powers worked. That would have been the perfect time to cut back to Egghead Island. Oda said, nope, we're in the final saga now, RogersBase. You're not going to catch me slacking. We are still with Law and Blackbeard. I am brain rotted from the previous story arcs, thinking we're going to cut away from these fights midway through. No, no, no. Here we are. An attack from the water, they're trying to sink the ship. We are continuing the glory that is Blackbeard and Law. I didn't know they were good at fighting in the water. You got the two of them swimming in front. We're experiencing a little lack. Oh, excuse me. I can't even speak right now. We're experiencing a little attack-related turbulence, but it'll soon pass. Believe me, our Commodore is the greatest. And you got Pudding in the cell, which, by the way, Oda lining up the cover page with what's actually happening in the chapter. Has this ever even happened before? Ever? In the history of ever? I don't think so. I think this is the first time he's ever done a reveal on a cover page that then comes to fruition in the exact same chapter. So this, obviously, that thing with Kuzan and with Von Augur must have been like Wano, like during Wano. Unless, again, like, you know, it had to have been because we saw Augur last chapter. So even if he teleported in like a second across from Whole Cake Island to where we are now, I don't think that must have been like prior to all this. Anyway, Charlotte Pudding. So we got Pudding in the chapter. If Mama is still alive, you won't be talking like that much longer. And he's going, well, the guy who we're fighting right now is the one who killed Big Mom. How's the new era supposed to get going if all the old legends are still kicking around? Okay. Pudding doesn't seem too distressed, though. So I'm wondering if she knows something. Because the guy sounds confident. He's like, this is the dude who killed Big Mom. I also gotta say, though, if Big Mom is actually dead, massive, big, fat, gigantic, couldn't be bigger W for Law. The fact that Law killed the character that has brought me the most grief in this entire godforsaken series, that my favorite character would be the one to put that big old B word in the ground. I almost swore, but you know the word I'm thinking. Yo, good. Good. I hope she's dead. I hope that old lady's rotting in a volcano right now. Good. I don't think she is, though. Again, to be real, seeing Pudding's face, I don't think she is. All right. Law versus Blackbeard. Law. Dude, this battle is so good. This battle is so good. Parvision could not have chosen to join me for a better chapter, bro. There's just no way. You've got Law and Blackbeard clashing. You've got the hockey going. You got Blackbeard screaming Black Vortex with the sword. At Winter Island in the New World, Blackbeard the Emperor has finally made contact with Trafalgar Law. And you got Akainu on the Tenden Mushi. And here I am once again, waiting for a fight to conclude. Nobody told me that being Fleet Admiral would be so frustrating. And now we're finally going back to Egghead Island. Yo, Oda, I just gotta say right now, thank you, Oda, thank you for not off-screening this. Thank you. I feel like if this was any other story arc and we weren't in the final saga, this would have been off-screened. Oda, I cannot stress enough, thank you for giving us Blackbeard and Law, for actually fleshing it out, showing Law and his crew doing the work. Thank you, Oda. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Egghead Island really is like, the beginning of this arc is so good. We from frame 1 of this story arc, we have been doing reveals after reveals after reveals. Meanwhile, on Future Island Egghead, we got the Kuma policeman over here. Looks like the pacifista came to a screeching halt. Oh, she aged up, everybody. Oh, she made Jinbei younger and Luffy older. And she made an old Chopper. So she stopped all of them by changing their ages. Age 70, Monkey D. Luffy in a different future. Bonnie, couldn't you have picked a better age to disguise me as? You got this poor old Luffy coughing and wheezing. Plus, I get how you feel, but it isn't really him. If you can't let me beat those ones up, we're gonna be in danger. It seems like Bonnie actually got a little younger here too, so she aged herself down a little bit. She's being silent. Poor little old Chopper too, going like, could you change me back too? Meanwhile, Jinbei's the only one she de-aged. Be nice to her, Luffy. Sorry, Bonnie. It's just that we've been through some bad experiences with these pacifistas. Poor Chopper. And Jinbei's like, so the original was a human, and this is a clone of him. It makes sense that he'd have family. But if you don't mind me saying this, Bonnie, here is what I know about Kuma. Jinbei being the one to do the lore dump. He's got the mental image of Kuma back when he was a tyrant king. The flames emanating off of him, and it says mental image underneath it. Jinbei's like, he started off as the wicked king of the Sorbet Kingdom until the people drove him off and he became a pirate. He was affiliated with the Revolutionary Army too, until the Navy captured him and sentenced him to life imprisonment. Really beautiful background in that shot too of the rest of the island. But Vegapunk was enamored with his muscle and his latent abilities. Okay? So in exchange for taking part in body augmentation and clone development, Kuma was allowed to return to freedom as a warlord of the sea. And he's like, do I have that right? What is Bonnie even holding up? What is that? Little bubble blower or something? What is this? Oh, it's a lightsaber. Oh! Okay. Do I have that right? And Bonnie says, the warlord and clone soldier development I can understand. But being turned into a cyborg might as well be a death sentence. I mean, who would ever make such a deal if they knew the consequences from the start? Well, again, Kuma must know things that we don't know. But really, Jinbei's explanation of all of this is pretty much all stuff we knew. Affiliated with the Revolutionary Army. I didn't know sentenced to life imprisonment. I don't think we knew that. Vegapunk was enamored with the muscle and latent abilities in exchange for taking part with the body augmentation. It allowed him to return to freedom as a warlord of the sea. Okay. There's still something missing, I think. There's still something. So picking up with where Bonnie left off, you've got Jinbei on the next page saying that's true, but life in prison is a heavy sentence. I mean, how many crimes must Kuma the tyrant have committed? She's like, my father was not a tyrant. He hated the world government. He would never work for them. They experimented on him by force. And meanwhile, Luffy just can't believe the fact that she's got a lightsaber. They're calling it... See, because they can't call it a lightsaber. So they said, wow, was that a laser beam sword? They're pulling a Sakurai. They have to call it a beam sword. That's awesome. All right, well, this is a scrap heap. So it's full of remains of Vegapunk's inventions. We could use these. My point is, it's murder in the name of science. I'm going to take a pause real quick, though. I know this is a great shot of Bonnie aging herself back up. I got to say something real quick. Please, at some point during this story arc, please, Oda, have Zoro pick up and use a lightsaber. Please. Or take a lightsaber. I don't care if one of his swords gets destroyed. Don't do anything to Enma. Leave Enma alone. Destroy one of his other swords. Give this man a lightsaber. Please. Please, 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 please. I know there's going to be people who disagree with me. I don't care. They're wrong. There's never going to be another opportunity. Even if it's temporary during this story arc, there's never going to be another opportunity in the story, I don't think, for Zoro to use a lightsaber. So do what you got to do. Give Zoro a lightsaber, even if it's just for one scene. Honestly, Frankie would probably make more sense, but I don't care about Frankie. I like Frankie. He's cool. His whole thing's technology already. He's already using laser beams and laser swords and stuff. I don't care. I don't care. That's fine. Tech is his thing. I don't care. Give it to Zoro. Please and thank you. And everyone else is wrong who thinks otherwise. I don't care. I'm kidding. Well, I'm not. Look, I want Zoro to have a lightsaber, okay? I'm not fooling around. I want it. I want it to happen. It is what it is. I want him to have a lightsaber. Brook would be cool with it too, but Zoro is our swordsman on the crew. I want him with a lightsaber. Throwing it. Anyway, let's continue. Was that a laser beam sword? Picking up. My father told me that he was from a special people. But so what? That doesn't give him the right to force experiments on him. My father told me he was from a special people. Okay, well, hold on a minute. It doesn't give them the right to kill him. Okay. On this previous page, we're seeing Jinbei talking about Kuma the Tyrant, and there's black flames. And the whole thing is they're the Seraphims now. This has got to be Lunarian. He's got the black flames and everything. And that would also make sense with all the stuff going on with the Seraphims, how they would have that technology. Because all these people were like, oh, were they experimenting on King? But I was like, the King thing just happened. So that would have been kind of weird. But if Kuma's Lunarian, that would explain something. Even Chopper's like, special people? What's going on here? And Luffy's saying, you tell him. Luffy and Bonnie in agreement that they didn't have to kill anybody. Very good. Meanwhile, jumping back to Team Sunny. You got them all flying in the air. The robots flying through the sky. The Vega Force 1 here uses jet boosters on the back for propulsion. And it floats using anti-gravity. Anti-gravity? It's only possible because of the island's air conditioning. But one day, it will be a reality all over the world. There's a giant monster down there, so they're flying over the tropical part right now. What's the deal with this futuristic city? Okay, Lilith is going, that's correct. This is the island where we're going to build the future. We finally get a good shot of Egghead Island as a whole. Future Island Egghead. Atop the clouds is the Labo phase, where the research happens. So you've got the Nintendo Labo up on top. You got the eggshell, junk records there. You got this like technology swirling around it. You got them flying through the clouds. The clouds are even marked. Oh, the clouds are steam coming out of the bottom. Below the Labo phase is the Fabrio phase. This is our factory level. The workers and researchers live there. And it seems like your captain is causing a fuss down below, so she already knows everything. At least he's all right. Are you coming, Zoro? And Brook? Thousand Sunny's landing nice and safely. And he's saying, I'm on ship watch. Me too. Brook and Zoro on the ship, okay? They're going to need something to defend that ship. I'm just saying, give them a lightsaber. I don't trust that woman anyway, though. But the ground. I mean, this is like a sky island. Man, I remember this, and they're all thinking back to Skypiea jumping on the clouds. This is Frankie's first time, though. But Luffy and Robin and Usopp and Nami, they're having a good time. Is this what this is? First time for me. What is this stuff? Frankie's just having a good time. Well deduced. Look how happy Nami and Robin are, too. That's so sweet. By perfectly controlling the island's air systems, we can modify the density and pyrobloin and moisture in the condensation nuclei, thus recreating the island clouds and sea clouds from the sky islands. They're like, bro, we didn't deduce all that. We were just saying the clouds are bouncy. We like them. This is the entrance to the lab. It's bold. Vegapunk, Labo right in the middle. Got the staircase going down it. You're going to have to change into research suits before you enter, though. The Trankos is just to the side. That's going to be your changing area. This is where you get the new outfits for the arc. Stick your feet in the Dom shoes and push the lever down. They'll shrink down to fit any foot. This is so cool. I love seeing this technology. We got new outfits. Oh, Robin. Also, the Nami one's really cute. I think Reagan's going to like the Nami one where it's got like the whole leotard and then the thing above it where it says SSG. That's cute. Yeah, I really like Robin's though. Robin's is cool with like the leather attached to the bottoms with the giant boots. These future suits have me hyped. Yeah, Frankie with the wind up on his head. Usopp's having a good time. Hey, Usopp in the front. Sanji's the one in this group wearing the Hawaiian shirt. Yo, my top looks just like an Aloha shirt. What's going on here? It's all okay though, because Nami and Robin look so good. Hearts in his eyes. I've never seen fashion like this before. It's so light and cute. Meanwhile, Sanji's thirsting. Usopp on the other page looking over at Robin going, nice outfit, Robin. You look real tough. And Robin's like, I do? Yeah, you look tough, Robin. That's right. You look so tough, you should wear that all the time. Exactly. And Frankie's just freaking out about it. What about me? What about me? And they're like, dude, you look like a perv. You look like a perv in any outfit. And Frankie's saying, stop, you're making me blush. All right, being a genius means being able to see what your own future contains. What do you mean, Vegapunk? Well, you see, I suspect that my death is imminent. Stop telling bad jokes, they're not funny. So I wanted you to hear me out. Dragon? To be continued. One Piece 1064 end. I suspect my death is imminent. So I wanted you to hear me out, Dragon. I want to give a special shout out to one of my fellow One Piece friends in the community. Way back in the day. Way back in the day. When I first started my channel and I was doing collabs with Brago back in like 2016. Me and this man would have long discussions about what Vegapunk and the Revolutionaries connection could be. I want to give a special shout out to Mugiwara Matt B. Matt, I am with you right now, brother. I'm going to share my observation hockey with you. You're going to feel this excitement from me to you right now using this advanced observation hockey. We are eating. My brother, we are here. We are here. Revolutionaries, Dragon and Vegapunk. We are here, my brother. We are here. Please tell me there's not a break, though. Please. Please, please. Please, no. Please, no. Is there a break? Matt was right. Matt's using observation hockey, but unfortunately, Roger, it is a break week. That's fine. Hunter x Hunter's back. We'll do a Hunter x Hunter reaction next week. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Doesn't matter if it's a break week. But I wanted to give a shout out to Matt, because nobody more than Matt has been touting the Revolutionaries and what they're going to do in the story. Dragon top 1, Vegapunk's connections. So he's the one I'm thinking of during this chapter. Incredible. Incredible, incredible. Wednesday, are you going to do a My Hero Academia watch through? Absolutely not, Koya. Get that idea out of your head right now. I am absolutely not covering My Hero Academia. Go watch another YouTuber. Not happening with me. Perfect. All right. Chapter end, 1064. Vegapunk, Dragon, new outfits, Egghead Island, Law versus Blackbeard actually getting threshed out. Let's call on Parvision. Let me plug this baby in. Let me turn on Discord. I got to get this man to join me for my review. This chapter is everything I wanted. I'm going to tell you right now, for the beginning of this review portion, no need for a score this week. This is what I wanted. The one thing I wanted more than anything else was to actually show us the Law and Blackbeard fight. And they did that. They actually did that. So that's all that matters. It's all that matters. Literally, Oda, there's no losing. There's no losing this week. And he gave us all the stuff with pudding. I love it. All right. Let me adjust these headphones. power on, boost this baby up, turn on my desktop audio, make sure this is working. You guys can hear that? Perfect. Crank him up. All right. Here we go, Parv. Here we go. I'm gonna start the call. Oh, this man's on camera. Perfect. All right, let me pull you up on screen. Parv. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. How are you? Actually, I can see how you're doing. You're
there
doing.
You are. I am.
You're delighted.
I am wonderful right now. I am doing great. I am doing wonderful. Let me actually pull this down real quick so you're full screen. Hold on. Let me just do this. Adjust this because you're going to be live with me when we're doing the whole thumbnail reveal and everything too. So, here you go. I figured you're going to be joining me. If I got a special guest this week, you're doing absolutely everything with me. So here we go. Streamer mode, disable it. Absolutely not. I got to have this man Parv. Exactly. The Roger way. See, I was just in New York. I didn't have anything the Aki way. That was a shame. But welcome. Welcome, Parv. Welcome to the stream. First and foremost, oh my God, this chapter. So I'm assuming you read the spoilers for this one.
Yeah, I read the scans for it.
What? How? Like, where do we begin with this? How do we start?
I honestly, I was watching a reaction. I had a very similar interaction with it when I opened up.
Yeah.
And it was the Aokiji thing, and I was just like, no way. And it just blew my mind. I spent the longest time on this cover story because of that.
The wild thing about this is that, like, yeah, the cover story, the stuff with Kuzan happens with Pudding, and then in the same chapter you see Pudding. Correct me if I'm wrong, that has never happened before in any chapter of One Piece, where the thing in the cover story immediately becomes important to the chapter.
Yeah, and I don't, like, I asked the same question. I was like, I've never seen this. I was anime only, to the point where I was just like, my first reaction was, the anime doesn't animate cover stories. So then I was just like, wait, how are they going to do this part when they get here? And then someone told me that the editors or animators or directors said that they're going to animate cover stories after Wano ends. And I was like, oh, that makes so much more sense.
When did they say that?
I have no idea. That was something in the chat because I was just asking. I was just like, if they go the anime way, they're not going to animate the cover story, and you miss this like gem of a story that leads into a really like awesome thing. And is it going to coincide? Are they going to do it as a flashback?
Yeah.
Like, there's so many interesting things here with this chapter.
It is kind of weird too when you think about it, because there's been so many good cover stories since they stopped animating them. And I understand, like, they've explained it before, where they didn't want too much time away from, like, Luffy and the main crew. But I still think that was a big mistake on the anime's part to stop doing that. Because right there, that's your filler. Like, you don't need filler arcs. You could literally do cover stories that are canon material, and you wouldn't need to do filler. So I don't know where the decision came from to stop doing that, because initially they did do that. Initially they did, like, the Kobe Helmeppo stuff that did get animated, and then somewhere along the lines, pre-time skip, they just stopped. So I'm hoping you're right. I hope they do actually end up animating this and make this part of the story, because this is very, very important to what's happening in the story moving forward. So
even something that like piqued my interest was Aokiji's outfit. Like, I'll
pull this back up. Hold on.
I didn't even think that, like, you know, so this is my perspective. A lot of people think that he's
and everything, and the
and he looks like he's twinning with a Van Auger here, and I'm just like, I didn't like, Aokiji has his own vibe and everything, so then to have him dress like Van Auger or the rest of the Blackbeard Pirates, that was a next level of like association to me. Like, that I was like almost contemplating, is this like Aokiji trying too hard to assimilate with their crew or something? Like, it's so different from what I expected Aokiji to look like right now.
I 100% believe he's undercover for Sword, though. Like, I've been saying this since way back in the day when they first said that he was working with Blackbeard. And now that we have, like, the full establishment of Sword and Shield, we know how all that stuff works. To me, there's no question. To me, it's he lost against Akainu, right? Wanted to go about justice his own way. Joined Sword. Well, didn't join Sword, but, like, is one of the leaders of Sword, right? And is the one doling out all this stuff, so that when we do have this final war and all this stuff goes down, Aokiji could be the one on the side with us, alongside Smoker, alongside all the other people, alongside even potentially I don't know if you've even talked about this in videos yet, but we talked about this on my previous live stream. Oh, you were here, actually, because you watch every week, so it doesn't even matter. But you know where I'm going with this. Lucci. I do potentially think there's an opportunity in this story arc for some type of redemption, quote unquote, for Luffy. I mean, not for Luffy, for Lucci. Where in which we could see him not necessarily getting along fully with Luffy, but understanding whatever the truth is behind Vegapunk and the revolutionaries and the world government. Because he is literally the dog of the world government, right? And he is the one, we see him in Film Red with the Gorosei. He's the one always taking their orders. He's the one with Cypher Pole. If Cypher Pole defects somehow after this arc, and they get on the side of Luffy, and they get on the side of the people against the world government, like...
Do you think that changes though with the ending of the chapter where Shaka or Vega, like I call him like the main Vegapunk.
The main Vegapunk, right.
He goes, I think my death is imminent. Do you think that's connecting back to the recent reveal that CP0 is on the way?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yes,
yeah.
I do 100%. Because Vegapunk obviously has a lot of amazing technology. You're seeing the lightsabers in this chapter. You're seeing like all this other future tech with the clothes. I do
that
feel...
lightsaber, by the way, that lightsaber was in a junkyard.
Bruh. I said this during my live reaction. People were clowning on me. I don't care. I don't care. They're wrong. Anyone who says they don't want Zoro to use a lightsaber during the story arc, they got screws loose. They got screws loose. Zoro with the lightsaber would be so unbelievably fire. I'm like, I don't care if you break one of his swords. Do what you got to do. Give him a lightsaber. At least during this arc. At least during this arc. Please. Please.
I feel like he's going to beat a lightsaber. I think he might use it and then find out.
Fine.
Yeah, and like find out his sword is better than or something like that.
That would be fire. Or have him pick a junk one up off the ground and then have this dude using like the best lightsaber on the island and he beats it with it and they have a full-on lightsaber duel. Bro, Zoro... I'm sorry. I'm losing my mind right now. I'm thinking about something right now. Zoro Kaku rematch, but it's a lightsaber fight.
That would be crazy.
Please. Please, Oda.
Kaku using a lightsaber and then using like, oh my god. And I was just thinking about something. You know, everybody's been wondering when Zoro's going to blacken his blade. Maybe he blackens his blade against lightsabers. Like maybe that's a thing.
Cut lights. Like, yes. And then, and that could set up potentially things with Kizaru later in the story. Like, please. Duel of the Fates, Zoro and Kaku, cutting the light, eventually using his black blade, using that against Kizaru later in the story. We're done. That's it. That's what it is. Please, Oda, I'm telling you, please. You just can't introduce lightsabers. I saw people saying it has to be Brook, it's got to be Frankie. No.
I was thinking... Usopp might get like light projectiles now.
I like that idea.
Yeah, and then someone, I forget who, and this is like a Bleach reference, but they were saying that there is like bow and arrow light references made a lot that could make this make sense for characters like Usopp.
I would like that a lot. I mean, to be fair, we are at Egghead Island. They're in a retro-esque kind of video game environment that we saw a couple chapters ago with the warp blocks and all that kind of stuff. Oda, we know, likes Nintendo games. He's a big gamer. How does every Zelda game end, Parvision? We took the photo in front of Link. You should tell me, how does every Zelda game end? What does Link use to beat Ganon every single time?
The
light arrow.
Yeah.
Bro, you give Usopp a light arrow? You're merging Legend of Zelda and Star Wars in one story arc? I'm losing my mind.
And then that would fit really well if Elbaf comes through
that's
too.
What I'm saying, dude. Oh my gosh.
Okay. Wait, is the next Zelda game gonna be a One Piece collab at this point? Like that's crazy.
Well, the new Odyssey comes out in like 2 months or something. It comes out in January.
Like that.
Yeah, 3 months. So it comes out in January, early January. I'll be doing a whole playthrough of that. But dude, I don't know how you feel about it so far, but like Egghead Island to me is like what we needed after Wano Country. Truly.
No, it's the exact thing like where we were having this conversation where it's like only Oda, like right now when I'm reading the chapters, my brain feels like it's lighting up in such a way that like I enjoyed Wano.
Yeah.
But like the setting we were in, traditional Japan, like all that stuff. And then we get a like straight up switch to like 80s, 90s, like video games and like a blast. Like this is, I remember when we were walking through New York City, you asked me like, you know, not to talk about the chapter, just like lightly. And then I said,
on it, because that was the one before, correct me if I'm wrong, we see Atlas for the first time, right?
Yeah,
The scans came out while we were at New York Comic Con, and I was flying back, and I was like, dude, don't spoil me, but tell me, is this going to be a good one? And you were like, bro, this is going to be a good one, and knowing your history with Nintendo, you're going to like it. And I was like, that's all I need to know. That's all I need to know.
And and that was the first chapter we got to see, like Vega Land or whatever they're calling it right now.
Right.
And so then that day was like perfect because we reminisced on so many old video games, talking through things. And then I literally was just saying like, bro, it's a blast from the past. And then it hit like a truck, I feel like, and it's continuing too. It's so like the Astro Boy Mega Man vibes that I get from these shoes, which I just thought of something really interesting now.
Let's hear it. Let's go.
Have you watched movie Gold?
Of course, yeah. I love Film Gold.
So yeah, Film Gold. Do you remember when they were going through Gil Tesoro's like tunnel? They were encoded by gold, and that was like a dual functionality thing, right? Like they thought it was cool.
Yeah.
But Gil Tesoro used it to lock them down, essentially, when he was in the realm. I'm thinking that these Dom shoes are going to be that same kind of function where they have to wear it to get into the place. When I look at these might be like giant magnets that hold them down. So
like
if they
cards, basically. Yeah, like when they're walking up the escalator, like that's the thing that allows them to even enter the facility.
Or not, and even more than that, if it comes to a point where they like counter Vegapunk turns on the switch and they're just locked down by the shoes.
Yo, that's a good idea.
They're called Dom shoes. I'm like, are they like dominating shoes? Or, like Dom shoes kind of like on the nose of what it kind of means.
True.
But I would imagine that these would just be like a way, except everyone except for maybe Sanji will be able to escape or not escape. Sanji will be the only one probably because he has the leg strength to do it.
Yeah.
But that might be an interesting segue into what happens. But now I'm curious with the dragon, the update with dragon. Like a few people had theorized this, but like you said, Matt B was one of the stronger ones. I think many times I've heard that.
Dude, Matt B and I have had so many discussions about like the revolutionaries and Vegapunk and their connection, his relationship to Dragon when we eventually see him. So like literally seeing on a page after years of covering this series, one of the paths of Vegapunk, I'm going to call him Shaka, on the phone with Dragon, literally saying, I have something I want to talk about. My end is imminent. Like, that's wild that we're finally here.
And to you, like, this is the way I rationalized it when I read this. I read this as if I was in Shaka's shoes, the first person I would tell is someone really close to me, someone who really important to me, almost like a brother.
Exactly.
So this small exposition on this relationship here tells me so much about Dragon and Vegapunk. Now I'm even questioning the situation with Luffy and Vegapunk to the point where it's like when we saw Kuma tested the Straw Hat Pirates, but ultimately protected them on Sabaody, and then 2 years following that.
Separates all of them, protects the ship, of course.
And now I'm wondering what Vegapunk has planned here, because if that's the framework behind Vegapunk's knowing Luffy, then I don't even know what Vegapunk has in store, because I thought it was just going to be like an antagonist thing, and then they kind of like come together towards the end of it. But now this adds a whole new like angle coming into this situation. So I'm curious, what do you think, since you said that this has been like a long time coming? This has been something on my mind for a long
time. Yeah, I feel like for me, there is an extra little added bit to Kuma's backstory that we don't know, right? And that goes back to even what was in this chapter, where you have Bonnie doing the explanation with Jinbei, and like, by the way, I love the old version of Luffy and the old version of Chopper, and then the little young Jinbei, super cute. But Jinbei talking about like the history of Kuma, and then asking Bonnie, like, did I get that right? And going over everything. There still is something missing in that story. I don't know what it is. We're going to find out, obviously, over the course of the story arc. But I don't know what it is, but there is something. And I think that something ties with the goal of the Revolutionary Army, Kuma being a revolutionary, And then obviously him being freed, him being the one to be experimented on. And this goes back years and years and years and years. But Matt B and I have discussed on multiple occasions, especially now that I'm seeing the lightsabers in this, the theory's coming back again, Order 66. In some way, Order 66 happening in the world of One Piece. Let me explain what Order 66 is to anyone who might not know. In Star Wars, in the prequels, you've got the clone army. Eventually, Palpatine makes the proclamation, execute Order 66. And all the stormtroopers, all the clone troopers who were previously working alongside the Jedi, turn and kill all the Jedi and eradicate them. Who are the pacifistas protecting in the story Parvision? Who are they protecting?
The world government.
The world government. If Vegapunk developed the pacifistas and this entire time has been working with Dragon and Kuma is literally the cyborg robot, his being is in all of these pacifistas all around. And then even taking it one step further with the Lunarians and the Seraphims here too. You've got all of them created by Vegapunk. I still think there's a kill switch. And I think what Vegapunk is talking to him right now, where he's like, my death is imminent, I want you to hear me out, Dragon. I think this man is on the phone like, it's time. We've talked about this. We said we were going to do this. It's time. The time for revolution is now. Luffy is here. Kaido and Big Mom are done. This is it. Luffy is in my presence right now. The people who could change the world are here on this island. We got to do what we got to do. Boom. Kill switch, the pacifistas turn. Because, and it doesn't necessarily have to happen during this arc, but I think the setup for the turn happening is imminent. I do. Because I think that is something primed for the final war, right? Where you've got this flood of pacifistas, converging on the Revolutionary Army. And it seems like the Revolutionary Army is going to die. And then, boop, kill switch, all the pacifistas turn, and all the celestial dragons of the world government surrounding them look, and the pacifistas obliterate them. Like, that, I'm getting chills thinking about it. But, like, we're looking at this now in the story. Vegapunk knows Dragon, and I agree with you completely. There's a relationship there. And if that's the case, and Kuma purposely gave himself up, because he's a revolutionary, he wants to change the world, he purposely gave himself up so he knew that it would work when they eventually do Order 66.
How was Order 66 implemented in Star Wars? I'm forgetting.
Okay, the clone army, right, was developed. The clone army's developed in secret. The Jedi Council develops the whole thing, whatever. Right. Palpatine basically says to all the clones, they always knew this, he just literally mentions Order 66. He just says, execute Order 66, and the clones turn. They go, aye, aye, we know what Order 66 is. It was always present. It was there in the programming, right? They knew, and they kill all the Jedi. And that's what I'm saying with the pacifistas. It's the same thing. It's like, it's in their programming. They all know inherently there is a kill switch or an order or whatever that when they're given the right word or the right microchip or something activates, they turn. That's it.
No, I like this because what you said was like, for this to work in my mind, it wouldn't be in this arc. But if Vegapunk, I think a lot of people are growing to the or accepting the idea that Vegapunk dies by the end of this arc.
Right.
Which would mean, and now I'm just picturing the scene where Vegapunk is like telling Frankie, for example, his like last words, the order code, and right before he dies, he doesn't say it. So then it's like a mystery, and they have to figure it out.
I love that too.
It just happens at the end of it. It's like they have to figure out what that is, and either Frankie or Luffy just instinctively know it or something like that.
I would love that.
And then boom, it happens. That would be kind of interesting.
I mean, that's what I mean. What if it's something even tied to Nika, right? If there's something tied to Nika, where then Luffy, like
the drums of liberation.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like that's their key is the drums or something. Like,
oh my goodness,
that's what I'm saying. See, like it makes too much sense because the thing with Luffy, I love that idea too. By the way, that like Vegapunk was going to say what it was, he gets killed. Cypher Pole comes in and kills him or whatever, and then the end of the arc when Luffy's going Gear 5 or whatever, that happens to activate something. And they discover, oh, this is what they need in order to turn over the pacifistas. But, like, I love it. Absolutely, positively love it. I love it. Also, people are clarifying in the chat, it was a chip that was in the clone army, basically. So it was implanted in them at birth, basically. But I mean, same thing. You could literally do the exact same thing. So, yeah.
Dang, this is interesting. I like this a lot. I was even thinking like somewhat of a Matrix vibe at the end of it. Like Vegapunk says to Luffy, like you have to wake up or something like that. And then that meaning the awakening. And then we get like so many references in the story. This is exciting.
It's too good. Like I said, man, this story arc is exactly what I needed, because I'm right there with you. I said this on multiple occasions. I really enjoyed Wano Country. I did. I never really had the issue with Wano that I did with the end of Whole Cake Island, but I certainly felt parts of it were dragged out. And maybe a reason why I didn't feel the same thing is because I did take that little break reviewing it in between like the Big Mom Amnesia and then like the trio of chapters in which Yasu makes his sacrifice. Like there was a chunk in which I wasn't doing reviews and reactions. I was like focusing on watching Hunter x Hunter and doing all the other stuff. But again, I never really felt the same type of fatigue as a whole as I felt about certain other story arcs post time skip. Egghead to me goes back to like, I said this before, I talked about this with James in previous theory discussions, I mentioned it in my other live reactions or reviews. This feels like a pre-time skip arc to me. In the sense that if you've read a pre-time skip arc recently, things move quickly. Very quickly. Like Arlong Park, there is so much story development that happens during the fight with Luffy and Arlong. In the moment where like they fight, they go to Nami's navigation room, you have all this other backstory that gets thrown in there. Like it's one thing after another. And that's how this arc feels. It's like we're going from Law versus Blackbeard to Bonnie explaining stuff about Kuma to jumping in with stuff with the revolutionaries and Vegapunk talking to Dragon and the new outfits for the Straw Hats. It's like they're piling things down in the chapters. Whereas I feel like with a lot of post-time skip story arc chapters, you get maybe one or two big reveals or one story revelation or one twist or something, and that's your thing for the chapter to digest. This, we've been talking for like an hour already. We haven't even talked about Law and Blackbeard. That's not off screen. It's in the chapter.
It's crazy. We haven't even talked the section of the story we were talking about. We didn't even talk about fully yet.
We haven't even talked about it yet.
And it's crazy because I think a majority of the community prior to this chapter already accepted that Law and Blackbeard is going to be off screen and it's going to be 50 chapters until we see an update or something.
Right.
But like you said, this is the last saga, and we were all deep down like, Oda, please. And I feel like Oda answered the wishes. Like I feel like, and no one said it like super out loud, but like we all kind of just accepted. We're not going to see it. And then and then on top of that,
I said it out loud. I made sure to say it out loud.
All right, Oda heard you.
Out loud. I said, do not off screen this. Please, I beg of you, do not off screen this. And he didn't. He answered my wishes.
But did you also pray to the Oda god for his crew to not be fodder? Because I think that was another prayer.
Penguin and Shachi fighting Got Penguin underneath the water, sucking up water, shooting out like I don't know what that was. Water bomb in the air. Like what?
So many people came to me because I'm the kind of person who answers like those like, how does this happen? I have theories about people doing crazy things.
Bruh.
I literally had a theory just prior to this about how Fishman lineage is more prevalent in One Piece than we think. And even with that, the fact that Penguin and Shachi are Aquaman essentially, and then they're Squirtle also because he has Bubble Beam. Like I was just mind blown.
I saw people in my chat saying they're from Waterworld. If you've never seen that old 90s movie, it's like where they have the gills.
it's crazy.
Man. Oh man.
And now I'm actually like scared of Shachi because Shachi means killer whale, and killer whales are terrifying.
Right.
And I'm like, oh man, Oda named this. I didn't even register that because I just dismissed their crew immediately. But now the way he's showing up, I'm like, okay, hold on. This is incredible.
Because I do think most of us wrote off Law's crew. Well, we were like, we even said during the previous chapter, it's like, man, Law's really going to be just like fighting all of them by himself. And poor little Beppo and Penguin and Shachi. Even John Bart in this chapter, when he teleports him and he blocks the sniper shot, he just tanks it. There's no question about. He literally. Something just happened. What just happened? Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, my cam link literally froze. I was getting too excited. Wait a minute. Hold on. Give me a second. I think I got to restart my cam link. I like that it's just stuck on my face, but the people can actually see.
There
you.
we go. The lag.
There we go. Hold on. Here we go. Wait a minute. Where is my desktop cam link? Bro, I actually broke my camera. That's wild. We were getting so excited. Not my actual camera, but my cam link part. Here we go. Deactivate, reactivate. There we go. We're back. Whoa! We're back. That's how you know it was a good chapter. Kuzan froze me. He froze me. Wow. Anyway, continuing the Blackbeard and Law stuff.
It's endless with. I think that's the crazier part, because last chapter we got like 14 pages, I believe, and it felt so packed, and it's continuing to feel so packed, where it's like the John Bart thing. That was one of the biggest surprises. I was like, wow, we're giving John Bart some respect right now. That
absolutely.
Because a lot of people were thinking Van Auger could just warp his bullets, like past people, through people, around people, whatever. And I don't even know, because he was aiming at Law, and I would imagine he would have used his abilities, but he didn't. And right now it seems like Van Auger can only like warp like things that he touches, I guess.
Yeah.
But even then, it's still powerful. So, like, what I really like about this scene is Oda is showcasing all sides without making one side crazily weak. You know, everyone's still interesting. And it's not, but at the same time, it's not like stalemating either, which is so hard to do this late in the game with characters that we like, not that we don't expect much from, but like we don't know a lot, but we know about the power system, and it still feels right and interesting. Like I think every page made you jump, which is like,
dude, every single page I was losing. If you go back and watch the reaction, man, I was like, I was losing it. That shot of Blackbeard with the sword through him, like I never ever expected to see that shot with this fight. I thought it was going to be Blackbeard and his crew completely wash them, and the fact that, like you said, they keep going back and forth. And you're like, it's not quite a stalemate, right? Because there's moments where they're winning, there's moments where they're losing, but like Law slicing up Stronger in half, Doc Q bringing back the exploding apples from Davy back, not Davy back, from Jaya. Remember, way back in the day. Like,
I thought it was so funny because the way they showed off those apples, it almost seemed like Doc Q was known for that. And I was just like, wait, how do they know that these apples are bombs? Like, I almost forgot that. Like,
the only reason I didn't is because when I did that One Piece Chat-On thing with Funimation last year, one of the things that we made in Sanji's cookbook was the exploding apples. So hold on, actually, real quick, while I got you here, I'll show this on screen. This was the cookbook I was cooking from. I hope one day Funimation allows me to upload that to my YouTube channel, because like right now they're on all of their social channels on Instagram, but I would love to upload them and have you guys watch them. But here was the Sanji cookbook, and in the cookbook, I think it's under desserts. Let me go to it. Here we go, right here, dude. Try your luck. Doc Q's exploding apples.
Oh my goodness!
Literally right here. This is
the
actual recipe.
Cookbook?
Right there. Yeah.
Wait, that's so cool.
Yeah. So when I saw that, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe they're bringing this back.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
That's so funny that they could have updated that manga panel. Like, literally, they've waited. Like, wait, how long ago is that book from?
That was from, no, it was recent, because I did that last New York Comic Con. So that would have been 2021. Yeah. So, I mean, it's only a year old. Yeah.
Yeah. Dang, they're gonna need to update that book with the new manga panel.
Yeah, right. Do a reprint, but have it with Doc Q throwing them.
Because we actually didn't see them explode. Do we see them explode in Jaya?
We don't see them explode in Jaya. No, he just
literally. We see them explode,
like, and we don't eat that. It could be poisoned or something. Right.
Yeah. And now it's like, oh yeah, I mean, I don't know if Luffy would still die because Pell, but like that explosion was crazy. So.
Yeah. Dude, this chapter is just so good. I keep like looking at all these different pages, and then we didn't even bring up Pudding yet. Like, we've done this whole review, the stuff with Pudding. Now, obviously, Big Mom's not dead. Like, I've come to accept this. This is maybe a situation like the Blackbeard and Law one, where I put into the ether, like, look, I would love it if she stays dead, but I don't think she's going to. I think, like, especially because of Pudding's reaction here, when he says the guy we're fighting is the one who killed Big Mom, and she has no reaction at all, not even like a ... over it, and she's just, I mean, she looks almost happy on the panel that we're seeing her. To me, I feel like Big Mom, whether it's she's gonna make a homie out of the lava or something,
homie out of lava, 100%.
She's doing something, she's getting out of there. But I said this during my reaction. If Law truly is the one to have put her down, it's best case scenario, happiest I will ever be in terms of One Piece. That to have my favorite character kill the character that brought me the most strife in my entire time on YouTube. So again, I hope it's true. I hope Big Mom is actually dead in the ground, dead as a doornail, rotting in the lava, but I don't think that's the case.
Yeah. I think I also thought the same way. The homie in the lava thing, it fits
to me.
Koya
manager in my chat just said it's magma, Roger. It's not lava. Go back to reading My Hero Academia, okay? Go back. He's asking me to do my live reactions to My Hero. Go back, read My Hero Academia, Koya. It's fine.
Koya,
no, but
he remembers.
Koya's right. It's magma. It's not lava. You're right. Koya's right.
With the magma's 3-0, fair enough. But the magma thing, so immediately after that scene, I was thinking she's gonna make a homie and its name is gonna be Vulcan or Hephaestus because that fits the naming scheme that she uses.
Cool,
and that'd be the magma homie.
See, we both did it. Koya, you ruined us.
But even more in this panel. Okay, so this leads into a theory that I created, me and Sai created on 1063.
Okay.
And it carried over, and I'm curious to know what your thoughts are.
Let's hear it.
So here in the official translations, it said something like, it said the old legends aren't kicking anymore or something that. So yeah,
the exact translation from the official translation on page 8 is, how's the new era supposed to get going if all the old legends are still kicking around? Yeah. Yeah,
and I felt like that was not foreshadow, but a hint towards what's actually happening with Kaido and Big Mom. But then this didn't even register in my mind until I was watching your stream.
Yeah.
So backing up a little bit with Aokiji, do you think that he's the 10th Titanic captain now?
Bro, it's up in the air. I think on one hand he could be, but I also think it's almost too obvious.
Yeah.
To have that, you know what I mean? Because it's obviously, they already mentioned in the story that Kuzan was working with Blackbeard. They mentioned that prior. And then when you see that listing, like you said, of all the commanders, and the last one was blacked out, I don't know. Again, I think he probably is. If I had to put money on it, he probably is. And that it was just there for mystery's sake. And they didn't want to spoil anything for people who are more casual readers that maybe didn't remember the little nugget that, there's rumors that Kuzan's working with Blackbeard now.
Right.
But I still think there is opportunity for it to be Moria. Because we saw Moria on Full Lead Island with the stuff after Absalom got killed and Shiyu took the devil fruit. And, if we're talking about the ways in which Big Mom could still be alive, I've been saying this since early Wano. I truly feel Moria's revenge against Kaido for slaughtering his crew way back when that he brings up during Thriller Bark is turning Kaido into a zombie, straight up. Stealing his shadow, turning into a zombie. Because that allows Kaido to be quote-unquote dead, right? To have the end of Wano still mean something, and to have him removed from the story moving forward, but to still have Kaido be present in the final war in some way. If you have a zombie Kaido or a zombie using Kaido's shadow and somehow, some way Moria takes the shadow from him and that's his revenge for Kaido slaughtering his crew all those years ago, is look, fine, you might have killed everybody, but who had the last laugh, right?
Right.
I think truly that is where that storyline's going, because that's still a thread that never got answered from Wano and from Thriller Bark. And if there's one thing we know about Oda, he does not leave loose story threads. And that's important. That was something that when Luffy was having the conversation with Moria in Thriller Bark, Moria specifically mentions, my crew was slaughtered by Kaido, and in the exact same story arc, we have the fight with the zombie Ryuma. So there are so many Wano ties to Thriller Bark that for that to not be the case would be very surprising to me.
Yeah. The Moria, I think one way or another, there's some kind of association with his fruit. We still haven't seen his fruit within one of the Blackbeard pirates. There are some that are still missing. We have Luffy and then Shiryu and Sanwan Wolf. Currently, we have not seen them yet. I'm curious to know, because my current take is Kid is probably interacting with those, because it seems like Blackbeard this is Blackbeard season. He's everywhere all at once. Right. Story wherever it is, it doesn't matter. It's Blackbeard, and so we still have three crewmates left. And I'm wondering if the 10 Titanic captains there. Aokiji, my take there is I feel like Aokiji is one of those characters that wouldn't be put underneath someone, even if he was masquerading as part of the crewmate. I think he would be more of like a partner or an alliance kind of thing that they would create. Yeah. And in that line, Blackbeard said like, we can't trust Aokiji. I think he said that to Burgess on Dressrosa, on the Denden Mushi, and I like the Moria take. I'm curious because the way I felt Moria was that he didn't want to be underneath somebody, and so like that's where like the shadows theory came in with like the reverie, and like while Moria as himself may not be important or like continue on, his devil fruit might, or there might be another way that Moria is interacting, and I'd be curious to know how Oda does that, because you're right.
Same.
Like I think, like you said, Oda put that plot line first, and the powers match so well together.
Yes.
So one way or another, Moria and Blackbeard are going to have some kind of further connection, whether it's Moria in the story or not.
Right.
Now here's, I do like
you bring up a good point, right? Now, just before I forget this, I want to bring this up because you had mentioned whether it's Moria who does it or not, the power is going to be important, right? And I think that's the key. Regardless of whether or not Moria is the one to make the zombie Kaido or whatever, someone is going to do it, and somebody's using his powers to do it. Like, if they kill Moria off screen, which would be wild because now he's died off screen twice. You know, where you have the thing in Marineford where seemingly Doflamingo kills him, and then he comes back, and then he seemingly dies again. The Blackbeard crews kill him. If that is the case, and somebody is using his powers and uses that to create a zombie army for Black, whatever, I could potentially see that being one of his Titanic captains. But I also am right there with you that I don't necessarily see Moria wanting to be underneath Blackbeard. So I think this is a similar situation to kind of what we saw with Law and Kid during Wano, right? It could absolutely be an alliance, even if it's an uneasy alliance, even if it's a forced alliance, and that would make sense with Blackbeard. Obviously, Blackbeard is not a friendly guy. He's like, you're going to ally with me or I'm going to kill you. If that's his ultimatum, there you go. Okay, ally with me and there you go. He doesn't have to be one of the captains. But I do think in some way, Moria is going to play a role in the story moving forward. Especially because they made a point, because they didn't really, when you think about what happened in Wano, I was thinking initially, the reason why they show that at the beginning of Act 2 is because that's going to be important to Act 3 or Act 4 moving forward, if there's going to be an Act 4 or whatever, that I was thinking at the time. I was like, this is going to be important to the story of Wano. That is why he's introducing this. But when you think back to Wano, there's no reason for the thing with Moria to be there or Absalom to be there at all. You don't see Shiyu show up with the clear fruit. You don't see Moria show up in Wano country. So why did he put that there in Act 2 in Wano with the Blackbeard pirates? There's no reason to put that there unless there's going to be a story time moving forward to something that we saw in Wano. So he knew that readers who were reading the Wano country arc would be reminded of and would see Moria again and be reminded of the fact that, like, hey, Blackbeard has this guy who has Absalom's devil fruit. He's got Shiyu. He's come in contact with Moria. Readers, beware. There's no reason he would have put that in there otherwise. If there's not going to be a direct story tie to something related to Wano country moving into the future. No way. I hard and fast, I stand by that. By the end of the series, there will be something related to Moria and Wano country that pops up.
Yeah, no, I definitely, because that's why I feel like what Oda's doing with Blackbeard is keeping him relevant so that we come to this point and we get like a bunch of puzzle pieces, but none of us really quite understood what the whole picture was. And now we're seeing more of, we're not getting the full picture yet, but we're getting an understanding of how those puzzle pieces connect and what Blackbeard's like intentions, some of his like not backstory, but like how he interacts with certain important elements in the story. Boa, Law now, he was willing to forego Boa's situation to kidnap Kobe, and then he also sent Aokiji to get Pudding, I'm assuming, and now he was waiting not for specifically Law, but any of the three to come there. So it's not even like specifically Law that he was after, it's the poneglyphs, it seems. He was waiting after Wano to get the poneglyphs, and so we're getting a better understanding. And then it's like, how does the Moria part fit in? Because Moria didn't mention poneglyphs or ancient weapons, but then it's the devil fruit and the power, but we still haven't seen the devil fruit or the power. So it's like either, again, it's Moria or Moria's power. And I'm like, I've been wondering about the 10 Titanic captains. So something I was going to ask you with the Wano situation. We just left Wano, right?
Yes.
Wano emphasized mythical zones, right?
It sure did.
And there was a lot of theories, including some of my own in the Shadows theory, whatever, with Blackbeard having a mythical zone.
Yes.
But now we get this situation where Stronger gets a mythical zone. Did that did that
shift my thought process of like Blackbeard having one? Absolutely not. No,
not that. Did that shift your important? Did you ever think that Stronger would get something so important that the main character, the last main villain, had as well? Did that change your perspective of Stronger at all?
No, I mean he's a horse. It's like to me, like it's funny that he's like this sickly horse that's now a Pegasus, but again, it didn't do much this chapter. It's not like he still gets sliced in half, so it's not
okay.
Like, I mean, he's fine. Obviously, people were saying like, oh, Stronger gets killed or whatever. Stronger's not dead, bro. This is a series in which there was the boar in Wano country that gets sliced through the face, that bleeds and is cut in half completely and is literally sewn up together again the next chapter. So
right, and then on top of that, this is Law's
power. Exactly right. So like he could easily splice things in half and they come back together again, no problem. But no, the idea that he got a mythical zone is not like anything that changes my perspective on Blackbeard or his crew at all. I just think it's funny. I think it's funny that I think Oda was just like, okay, what can I do to just really emphasize that everyone's getting devil fruits on his crew, right? Everybody. Well, let's give Doc Q's horse a devil fruit. Well, what would he have? I don't know. Let's make him a Pegasus. He's a horse already. Let's give him wings. I think that's where Oda's thought process came from. I don't think it was anything deper than that with Stronger.
So with Stronger, I went a different route. And it plays on like a few anime tropes. Have you watched you watched Naruto and Bleach?
I've watched all of Naruto last year. Yeah, all of it.
Okay. So this is a small reference. It should be fine to it's a Shippuden spoiler, not a Boruto spoiler.
It's fine. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So you know how Toby in the Akatsuki, the Akatsuki was ran by Pain, right?
Right.
And
but you're Toby. By the way, you are totally safe to bring up the Naruto spoilers because I straight up said during the chapter where the Vegapunk. I still am calling them the 6 paths of Vegapunk, but that's what they are. I mean, they're straight up Pain. So go off, King, by all means. Yeah, share what you're going to share.
So Akatsuki was ran by Pain, and we thought Pain was like the main leader, and Toby was there, this bumbling buffoon masquerading
as the real.
As Obito, who with the connection to like an ancient or more like historical person that allowed him to take over and create this larger than continental plan that take over everything and reset the world and that kind of thing.
Right.
And in Bleach, there's also a similar thing we don't need to get into, but when I saw the Stronger thing and him getting a mythical zone in the last chapter, his name was larger than everyone else in the crew, larger than Burgess, larger than Daku, larger than Van Augur. It was last page with Blackbeard. And so I was like, okay, hold on. This might not be just a horse anymore. And the thing is, we don't know when Stronger had the fruit, because if it's a mythical zone, especially a mythical zone, when we were introduced to it, it could have just been a horse hiding its wings. How many different variations of hybrids have we seen?
Yeah, right.
And so the way I was thinking about it, I was like, okay, this could be a person. This could easily be a person that's inside, that has a horse Pegasus fruit, a mythical zone.
Wait. You think it's a person? You think Stronger's a person?
It could easily be a person. Think about Morgans, for example. Morgans is a character who now we have confirmed had a mythical, or not a mythical zone,
he's
zone
just
in
an
the
albatross. Yeah. Right.
But he's been in hybrid form this entire time. We know it's hybrid because he has hands.
Right.
There's another character that a lot of people think is a person that's been, and this is from Eni's lobby, is Hattori, Lucci's pigeon, who talks actually. The thing about Stronger is Stronger also talks. Time out.
Hattori, who talks actually, is what you just said.
Yeah.
You think he actually talks?
So some people. So this is the one thing. There's a creator on TikTok that
Lucci does his voice. That's the whole thing.
No. So here's the connection that I tie to.
Hattori's like a human with the pigeon from
that Robin said that the mass CP0 agents were in a league of their own. Hattori has a mask.
Bro, come on.
And so, like, there's a large part that think that Hattori is gonna be like a character, and I'm like, okay,
I'm here for it though. I'm laughing, but I actually think that is so Oda that I would love the idea. But, but like, I always just assumed it was ventriloquism. That's the whole thing with Lucci.
I don't honestly remember a lot of the Hattori stuff from Enies Lobby. A few people, I think Sai recently rewatched it, and that's what he contributed into this conversation. And so my remembrance is the mask thing. And then after the mask thing, I'm like,
that's
okay,
so
hold on.
Funny. Yeah, Hattori has a little mask, and he said the mask. That's so funny.
Yeah. So there is a precedence for this like kind of
interesting
concept.
I mean, I will say, as the world's #1 Big News Morgans fan, right? It was always like we thought he might have been a mink or something, right? Or like a tribe of bird people or something. But as soon as it got clarified he's got a devil fruit, it's like, oh, okay, well, you have a newspaper that the mascot of the newspaper are seagulls and birds, right? And you have an albatross fruit. Obviously, all your stuff is themed like that. It's good branding. Big News Morgans, he's like me, right? He knows clickbait works. He knows all about the branding. He wants what's going to sell newspapers. And I think Morgans understands that, like, being the face of a newspaper that gets sent out by seagulls and being a giant bird, the reason he's in that form is because he's chilling. That's like, he's the leader of the World Economic News. Like, why wouldn't he be a bird at all times? Like, of course. Right. But I think at some point, I said this even before, on multiple different occasions in which I had to submit questions to Shueisha. I've brought this up before. The one thing I want answered, and I will literally write this in and send it to Oda before the end of One Piece to be in an SBS. I want to know what Morgans looks like without his albatross form. I want to know his human form, what he looks like. Because I'm imagining like J. Jonah Jameson from Spider-Man. I'm imagining like the mustache, the cigar, the big hair, and then he turns into Big News Morgans. Like, I think that would be incredible. So I would love to see what Oda's going to come up with.
There's actually a few theories. I think Mr. Bushido in my Discord brought up that Morgans might be an ex-Rogers pirate, and I really like that. And he even pinned down which Rogers pirate it could be.
If Morgans is a Roger pirate, I mean, Oda's writing the story for me at this point. Then there's really no if that ends up being true, it's over. Like,
yeah, it's a win for you.
I win. Forever. Wow. I mean, that would be a story revelation, the likes of discovering the One Piece for me. That would be incredible. I hope you're right.
In terms of the legends, though, with Rogers, so the thing with Stronger, right? If he was a person, a lot of people connect what's his face, a certain character to the Blackbeard Pirates. Okay. And do you know who I'm talking about?
I don't.
Okay, so I'll tell you that I think that character, the chat might know what I'm getting at. The character I'm talking about is Stronger, and that character is Rox D. Zebek. And the logic line is kind of crazy. This is my latest video. So this part.
Do this. I can't do that. What? Repeat what you just said again.
Stronger is a Rox D. Zebek, and it fits because he got off screen. Essentially, he got cut off immediately. I'm like, damn, we didn't even you got the mythical zone, and then they just got cut off, and I'm just like, damn, that's crazy. So then the video is really interesting because it actually explains why he's still sick right now. And then even the hair matches up, and I'm just like, okay, hold on. This is kind of interesting. So the latest thing, I was just like, with the way this fight played out, you were saying that we didn't get the off-screen of a lot of things. One thing that we did get off-screen was Beppo and Burgess. For some reason, Oda didn't want to show us that. And then the other part that was really surprising to me was the emphasis on Stronger, and then the emphasis on just taking him out of the fight immediately.
I'm gonna be honest, like everything you're saying right now, I can't hear. I can't. It's going right through. I'm nodding and going, it's not processing. My brain cannot handle that you said Stronger is a Rox D. Zebek. Like, my brain literally turned off right there.
That's what
I'm trying. I'm actively. I'm not even like joking. I'm trying to listen to what you're saying. It's not going through. It's like you're speaking a foreign language right now. I don't hear it. I don't know what you're saying.
I love seeing all the different reactions. I
have to go back and watch the stream to see what you said because I don't know what that explanation was. I didn't hear it.
The funniest part is the explanation in the video. It explains the sickness part, and that's what sells a lot of people because a lot of people have the same response as you, but then they keep watching, and at the very last point, they're like, "Wait, hold on. This Oda actually drew this exact situation." So I'll leave a gap into the rocks part, but if people were wondering why Rocks looks the way he is, there's a character that Rocks or Oda drew exactly like Rocks, which is Lasso from
Impel Down. Oh no!
From
we're thinking of different people. So I'm thinking of the guy that was frozen in Impel Down. That looks a lot like Rocks, where there were all those theories that came out that week.
Not Rocks, sorry, Stronger. The character that looks like Stronger
got you. Okay.
So the same, like the tongue drooping, nose drooping situation, we've seen that exact, like literally, like exact same countenance, the same face on a different character, and that was Lasso, which was a cannon, a gun.
Pull this up real quick.
A devil fruit.
Lasso.
Yeah,
One
and
Piece.
So it fits the exact same way that Stronger looks in this thing. And
bro. The dog?
The dog. The way the tongue is drooping, the nose drooping, even the way it was shown in the anime and all that stuff. And so I left a gap within this theory. So that's where it ends, and people are like, wait, that does make sense. Hold on. And then they went back and watched the middle of the video, and they're like, wait, hold on, now I believe this. Because they had the same reaction as you, which is why I wanted to bring it up with you, because you have, like, I feel like when you're reacting to the chapter, you react the way I feel Oda, like, is intending for readers to come through, like the way you jumped in every single thing. So I wanted to hear your like immense reaction right here, because I feel like that is an Oda thing to do, to take like an anime trope and make it super goofy. And this is a few people's favorite parts of the theory is it's right in our face. Stronger being his name. It's like, why is his name Stronger? It's because he's stronger than everybody else. And I was like, okay, hold on. That is a kind of like anime type thing.
What does the name Lasso mean?
I don't know what Lasso means. I don't know what Lasso means.
No, but I mean it's to the point of like, oh, well, stronger just means he's stronger. It's like, okay, what does Lasso mean? I'm gonna clarify this theory, and I'm gonna maybe explain something for you and break your theory right now. Very simple, right? Mm-hmm. Stronger is an animal that ate a devil fruit. Okay.
How do you know that? It could be a person.
Regardless, there is a dog and a gun.
Yeah.
That's Lasso. You've got the horse and the Pegasus, right?
Yeah.
You've got the snot. Both situations, it's an animal and something else, whether it's another animal, in the case of Stronger being a horse, assuming, or in the case of Lasso being a gun, right? Because it was a gun that ate the dog fruit, right? Mm-hmm. Both of those situations, they have the snot nose. But the animal that we've seen in the series that has a human fruit is Chopper. Does Chopper always walk around with snot dripping down his nose?
So that's actually explained.
No,
I'm telling you,
has snot always dripping down his nose?
He doesn't, but let me explain. So the reason there's a gap in between the part is that there's a different explanation that I'm leaving out.
Okay.
That is connected to Lasso. So the point being is that there's an inanimate object and a person, and we actually, this is something that the wiki and I think Vivek SBS also clarified, where it was just like we don't know the process, and we might learn very soon, which is why this theory is really interesting.
About the devil fruits?
How inanimate objects eat devil fruits.
Sure.
Because one thing that's interesting was Funkfried didn't have this ailment, but it was a sword that ate a devil fruit.
Right. I was just going to bring up Funkfried to say, like, we should pull up a photo and see if he's snot-nosed.
Yeah, but Funkfried is a CP0 thing, so I would imagine that's more connected to the Vegapunk situation. But I made this theory before we figured out the dragon connection. So, but this still doesn't connect with Mr. 4 having Lasso. He was part of Baroque's work. So I was like, how would he get that fruit? Or how would he get a gun that has a thing if this is tied to Vegapunk? How is this character tied to Vegapunk in that way at all? And it might be that there's multiple ways to get there, because we do see other versions of a similar thing, whereas I think there's like there on Wano, there's a teapot that has like the I forget what animal.
Oh yeah, the tanuki, the little tanuki teapot,
yeah,
for sure.
So there's
for sure.
multiple different ways, and people who watch my channel, I point out those like obscure details a lot, trying to connect those back to the story.
Also, Grim in my chat, real quick, I want to point out, he mentioned the Impel Down Awakened guards also have the snot dripping down their nose too.
Yeah, and that one's interesting one too, because Oda gave us like a slight explanation in the Road to Awakening.
Right.
And
right,
so like
I have to cut this off right here though, because we have theories and we got the thumbnail thing and we got a whole second stream, and it's like, I think for the main review portion, I might even have to clip out that whole thing with the theory about Stronger and Rocks and have that as a separate timestamp, because people are going to be watching the review, waiting to get to our theory portion, waiting to see the thumbnail, and they're like, what is this 20-minute conversation about Stronger? So we're gonna hold it there, and we got a ton of donations and a ton of theories that I know people want to hear your take on and my take on. So I appreciate it though. What I'm going to have you do when the video of this goes up, leave a comment that I'll pin that links to that Stronger Devil Fruit video.
Okay. All right.
And then I'll heart it so that people can go watch it. All right.
Yeah.
What we got to do though first, let me close the screen. Go ahead.
We start, are we? So we're gonna go through and just continue to go through until we're done, right? Like there's not a hard cutoff from the time on your stream.
On the for the donations and stuff.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, so I schedule my stream in the right.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, did you already schedule it? What time did you schedule it for?
I put it at 1, but I can move it to like 1:30.
Dude, just leave it. No, just leave it. Just leave it, because everyone's going to be coming from this stream onto your stream anyway, so it's totally fine. Okay. So just leave the scheduled thing and then go live right after we go live. All right. Let me pull up real quick though. Thumbnail art by James. We're going to do a live reaction to the thumbnail art. Here we go. We do this every week. I know you're used to it, Parv. You're going to have to see this on your screen because I only have the other monitor open. All right, 1064. Oh, here we go. PNG 1064. Oh, beautiful. Nice and simple. Oh, this is good too. I could do something good with this, James. Good work, James. I like this a lot. He drew Law, doing an attack, looking real clean. This is very easy to manipulate because I could easily put Law in the middle, you and me on either side, and the chat on the bottom. Beautiful shot.
James in the chat said he should have drawn Stronger. He likes it. Yo, shout out to James.
For not drawing Stronger, you said.
James, I know what kind of person. We can troll Roger every week. Let's talk a little bit more.
Oh no,
I'm excited now.
James, if you want to, feel free. If you do draw a bonus Stronger, I will throw it on the thumbnail afterwards. If you do draw one, it has to be within the next 4 hours so that I can update the thumbnail accordingly. But if you do draw an additional separate transparent PNG of Stronger, I will put it on the thumbnail. 100% I will do it. So you figure out where it would go, I would do it.
And if you ever want to troll Roger in the future, you know where to go to.
Just message Parvision and be like, what should I do for the thumbnail this week?
Yo, that's too
really,
funny.
James did a great job. Yeah, this is beautiful. This is absolutely beautiful with Law doing the attack. I love the fluid movement of it too, where you got the cape flowing in the background. Yeah, I love it. Law mid-attack, I think, is perfect for this chapter. Love it.
I like the way he drew so this is like a personal like when you see art, it's like subjective how you respond or whatever. So when I see this, I think that like the way he drew the croom or re-room or whatever, or his like room, that thing, it reminds me of a donut, which reminds me of Ace, and a lot of people are making that connection with Law right now because Ace and Blackbeard fought. Law and Blackbeard are fighting now, and a lot of people are wondering, like, what's Law's outcome? Like, and real quick, do you think Law's gonna die?
Let me swap to your screen real quick. Let me minimize this before I pull this up because I want to see a reaction of this. I don't think Law's gonna die in this fight, but I do think by the end of the series, Law's dead.
Oh, with the mortal surgery.
Right. But I think Law is making it to the final arc. I actually would go a step further. I think Law makes it to Laugh Tale.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that.
I think he makes it to Laugh Tale with the rest of the group. but I think amidst the final confrontation leading up to the One Piece, I think he dies. Yeah.
So I was thinking that before that, I was thinking that a lot of people were talking about Impel Down 2.0.
Yeah.
And I was thinking if it continues with Ace and Blackbeard, and after Ace fought Blackbeard, there was circumstance, through some scheme, Blackbeard was like, all right, put him in Impel Down, traded with the Marines. We don't know right now if Blackbeard personally wants the Opie no Mi because he wants the Poneglyph. So it might be that Law ends up in Impel Down through some trade, especially now that we know for a fact he has Kobe and he has Kuzan in his sphere.
Yeah.
So I was thinking that Law ends up in Impel Down, and that's Impel Down 2.0. And the reason why I like that more is because the person who's in there is Doflamingo. So then it would be like a Luffy, Crocodile, Law and Doflamingo, and that would be the opportunity to show that Law is stronger than Doflamingo at that point.
That'd be sick. In the story. I would love a breakout in which Law gets thrown to Impel Down. But the thing was, the one thing I have against that, right, is that at this point, Blackbeard doesn't need to do what he did with Law, right? The whole reason he went after Law was to get the clout to be a warlord. That's the whole thing. That's the whole reason he went after, and I said Law, I'm sorry, Ace. The whole reason he went after Ace in the first place was to get the clout to be a warlord of the sea. He doesn't need that anymore. Blackbeard's a Yonko now. So there's no reason to be like, hey, world government, I'm delivering Law to you. To put him Impel Down, you know what I mean? Like I would assume Blackbeard would rather kill Law and get his devil fruit, or have Law use the immortality surgery on him.
Right.
More than anything else. Yeah.
There's a few things with that, and we'll get to the super chat. Sorry, it was just a quick thing.
Yeah. I'll pull up the thumbnail again. Yeah, while we're still talking. Yeah.
What's it called? So the two things being that like he was waiting for anybody, not specifically Law. Two, the immortal surgery might not be as common knowledge as we think, because he didn't know about the awakening powers of Laws here in this chapter. And so from what we gather, the immortal surgery, only Doflamingo really knows about that so far, and Treble, I think. And so it's a little interesting, is does Blackbeard know that? Because he didn't know about the awakening side of Law's power. So how would he know about that kind of stuff?
I think that goes back to the Emperor thing, right? Is that when you're an Emperor, knowledge is everything. Like they've clarified that on so many different situations with Big Mom and Kaido. I think he would know.
But even then, it's like the Yonkos still like. So I made a point in one of my recent. Oh no, the video's not out yet, but it's coming out soon. Where Kaido and Big Mom, they mention the ancient weapons, but they don't know any of the ancient weapon names. So like this knowledge is there. They have more knowledge than most, but. Like Whitebeard, for example, when he was telling Marco about the story about the land of the gods, he didn't say to Marco the race name, which is like interesting. So like they know of a lot of things, but they don't know all of the details that we expect. And we're getting that understanding with Blackbeard here. I think that's what I really like about this, because a big question a lot of people had is how much does Blackbeard really know? And in the previous chapter with Boa, it's like he knew a lot, but he didn't know everything.
Not
everything, same thing here.
Well, I think this goes back to like the Rocky Port thing, right? Is now this is the third instance in recent memory between Film Red and this most recent chapter before this one and the one with Kobe. Is this Rocky Port incident is obviously, and I'm saying this because we still have Law and the thumbnail art on screen. That is obviously going to be something we're going to see fleshed out, or at least find out like the full extent of at some point within the story, most likely soon. Because there's so much stuff that now revolves around this Rocky Port incident that previously I thought it wasn't really going to get touched on. I thought they mentioned that as like the excuse for why he became a warlord, but like we weren't actually going to get more information about it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, again, Oda's setting up for greatness right now. All these different plot points connecting back to Egghead, like you were saying, like the Vegapunk line with CP0, Revolutionaries now, Kuma, where is Lost Sword, all these things. It feels so confusing. And I like, it's like, how does Oda connect all these dots in a way that's so cool? And I have no doubt in my mind he's gonna blow us away.
Absolutely. Someone else that's gonna blow us away, because I could see it in here right now, is James in my chat saying, when I finish this Nami drawing, you're gonna have to retweet it. So I think what happened is he probably wanted to do Nami and Robin in their new outfits, but knew it was gonna get demonetized instantly if he did it, based on how he drew Vegapunk, quote unquote, a couple chapters ago. Before we knew Lilith, right? When he drew the female Vegapunk and it was like the same color. loves her skin. So, all right, James, I'm looking forward to seeing what you do with Nami and Robin and their new outfits. But once again, shout out to James for the beautiful thumbnail art. As always, greatly appreciate it, James. Go follow him, Kantaro PJJ on Twitter. I know most of you already do, but make sure, send him some love because he always does great work every single week.
Exciting.
Oh yeah, James is great. I mean,
James
people look forward to it now on the streams. That's like I've seen this on multiple occasions in the comment section. People come up to me at conventions. People said it at New York Comic Con. They're like, dude, I look forward to the thumbnail reveal every week now. It's a part of the stream. I'm like, I want to know what James drew. I want to see if he's going to make this into separate art that I can buy. So yeah, James has become part of the crew now. He is an Akuma.
He's a commander. He's a commander of the Manga.
He's one of my exactly. James is my artist. Brandon's my editor. I got the two Titanic commanders, right?
Ooh.
Reagan is one of them as well, right? Exactly. So there you go.
Wow.
Obi could be one too. I got to give a devil fruit to Obi. Maybe Obi's actually Roxy Zebek and he's using the pom pom fruit.
That's a cool picture to make, like Roger as a captain, and then
actually
your own. Yeah, that's cool.
I like that actually. We might have to do that eventually. Hey James, you have a future thumbnail idea, future art idea. I actually really like that. That's great. Yeah.
That was fun.
Where do we go from here? Because we have a lot of theories and a lot of super chats to get through. Obviously, oh yeah, I agree with Alves in my chat saying, Roger, you got to remember though, give Obi a mask because the masked ones are the strongest. I'll make sure to have him put Obi in a mask. Exactly. All right, we have a lot of donations to get through. The thing is, obviously, we had a pretty long theory discussion amidst our review, so I'm going to bypass ones that repeat things we've already talked about just for time's sake. So greatly appreciate everyone donating, but I feel like a lot of these have probably already been answered by this point. So we're going to do some lightning round ones. We're going to go through some of the really big ones. Again, shout out to everybody who super chatted. There's a lot of people in here. And I'll make sure to read out all the member names before we end the stream too. But let's go back. Oh my gosh, dude, I'm still scrolling. Okay, first one. $20. This one came from Roberto, who said, good morning, Roger and Parv. I hope you have a wonderful morning. And thank you, James, for the VV sticker. I love it. Have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you very much, Roberto. Very nice one. We've got Caesar D. Law saying, are we back to the old pacifista army? We'll take orders from Dragon Theory. By the way, thank you to everything. Obviously, we talked a little bit about the Order 66 thing, so we'll bypass that as well. Definitely scroll back a little bit.
I like that one, by the way.
I do. I think it's great. I think Order 66, the pacifistas taking orders from Dragon, having a kill switch or a command phrase or something, drums of liberation. Like, there's a lot of things there. I'm glad that I was able to sell you on that theory. I really am. Because I've been touting that Order 66 pacifista theory since I started my YouTube channel way back when. And I know Mugiwara Bat B agrees with me, so.
We need to get a stream with that and talk about the drums of liberation activating that being Order 66. That would be wild.
That's a future stream, man. We could do a theory stream or something. Actually, there's a break week next week, so I think that would be a perfect discussion for that, potentially. Yeah. Seraph Dalgon super chatted and said, to be fair to Bonnie, you can't game something without sacrificing something. We're making the mother of all omelets over here, so we can't fret over every egg. I'm assuming that's in response to what she was talking about with Kuma. And like, why did Kuma hand himself over? Also, I like the little play on egg and Egghead Island, omelets, mother of all omelets, very cute. Like tasteful what you did there. I was going to say a tasteful pun. Exactly, Seraph. Okay. Long time, you even know this name. Everybody in my chat knows this name. This is one of my legendary longtime viewers, Mike Mancool, coming through with this super chat every week saying, I really enjoyed the paneling of this chapter, especially the Blackbeard parts. I'm looking forward to more of Brook and Zoro, and since they're on the ship, more of Caribou. No one but the Straw Hats know that Caribou is in the barrel. Trust me, Caribou is coming in clutch. Thoughts on Caribou?
I mean, that was a huge 10 Titanic captain option for a long time. For me, I feel like I got more confused over time thinking about Caribou because I have a few videos about him. But like I have a video where I'm just like questioning whose alliance is. It doesn't make sense for Dragon. But then Vegapunk, now that we see Vegapunk, maybe it is Vegapunk because like this is something that I've been talking about with Vegapunk. It seems like Vegapunk unintentionally recreated all of the ancient weapons to a lesser degree, but in a scarier way. Like the sea beasts that are robotified or whatever, mechanized, that's essentially a mecha Poseidon. The Aircon from my theories is essentially a mechanized version of Uranus. And then if the CP0 is coming for Lelucia, and that's the weapon that he completed, and because he completed it, they don't need him anymore.
Right.
Or one that could be one explanation, or maybe even this anti-gravity thing. Like that was a small thing, but that's huge, anti-gravity. And so like one way or another, I feel like Vegapunk has recreated all the ancient weapons, and so Caribou has been known to want to capture Poseidon, to heard the Pluton conversation. So it might be that it is connected to Vegapunk. I'm not sure, considering we brought Caribou to Vegapunk. I mean, it's probably Vegapunk at this point.
Maybe I also think, I know a lot of people said that there was potential for Caribou to defect and maybe sell information to Blackbeard or something. I think it goes back to the cover story with Caribou, right? Where he was mistaken for a member of the Revolutionary Army. That was a whole thing with the story of Caribou, right? That was his whole cover story.
I don't know if it was the revolutionary, like a pirate, like the Dragon's Crew. I thought it was it could just be a revolution that was inspired by it, because I thought it was within the
But
on that island.
Wasn't the name of that guy, wasn't his title something the Revolutionary? You know what I'm talking about?
It might be. So I know what you're talking about. I don't remember the names though. You're right.
Me neither. It's been a while. But I always assumed that character had ties with the Revolutionary Army. And that Caribou, if we're now in an arc in which obviously the Revolutionary Army is going to be important, there's some kind of connection with Vegapunk there. You've got Kuma there as well. I do potentially see Caribou, Gaburu. Thank you very much, Manu. Thank you. Gaburu, exactly.
Gaburu.
I could see Caribou somehow, some way becoming part of the Revolutionaries with the knowledge that he has. Because I think a lot of people think that Caribou's going to sell it to somebody, right? Because of how he is. He's a slimy kind of character. But I do also wonder if he thinks, the right situation and the right people I should be telling this information to is the Revolutionary Army. If they end up paying him a lot of money, if the Revolutionary Army can pay him more than the world government's going to pay for these secrets, or can pay him more than another commander crew is going to pay for these secrets, or Blackbeard or whatever, I could see a situation and he's like, all right, well, look, I know all this information about Poseidon. I know all this information about all this other stuff about these poneglyphs. I could tell you all the stuff that I know over the course of everything I've learned since Fisherman Island to now for a price. Yeah. I could see that conversation happening with the Revolutionary Army. Yeah.
What's
because
he's got
no alliances. He can go to whoever he gives him the most money or gives him the best deal, basically. And it could be the Revolutionaries.
There's so many, and that's what's crazy about it. Oda has not given us a lot of information, but gave us a lot of information. And something that I looked up Gaburu on the wiki. And something interesting about it is, now that we know that Vegapunk, and a lot of people already connected Vega to the star system, and we're seeing the moon craters being the inspiration for the satellite names.
Sure.
But here, Gaburu has a star on his hat in the picture, and I don't think the Revolutionary Dragon, they have the dragon picture, so the star could actually just be a connection to Vegapunk in that regard.
Maybe. Who knows?
Because that is his symbol on a lot of the stuff. Even the Kuma Seraphim has a star. The police thing has a star. So that's interesting now to think about that.
Yeah. So look at this joke donation about Caribou turned into a whole discussion. Look at that, beautiful. Chaos Lurlin super chatted and said, "I'm becoming more and more concerned each week that Dragon might actually be the final villain of the series, especially if he can get back end access to pacifistas and Seraphim." I think this goes back kind of what we were talking about before too. If he gets back end access to the pacifistas and the Seraphim, he's going to use that to take down the world government, and the world government. We're against. Regardless of whether or not Dragon ends up wanting to do something against Luffy's wishes, he still is good in the sense that he wants to take down the world government, right? So in a sense, he can't be all bad.
Yeah, which is crazy to say because we know so little about Dragon, but I think a lot of creators I've talked to now, you, me, Hidden, a few others, we all believe that Dragon is good. There's
definitely.
Without a shadow of a doubt, which is crazy even more that we don't even know Dragon, but he just feels like he's going to be a good character.
Well, I mean, to be fair, that's context clues, right? That's everything that we see. He's been good to Sabo. He saves Luffy near death, right? He has not been there for Luffy as a father, right? He's been out to sea, but at the same time, he went his own way, right? He's the freest that he can be. He broke away from Garp, didn't end up being an admiral, didn't end up being, well, he could have been an admiral at some point, who knows? But like, or a marine or whatever, and something might have chosen, he might have defected because of something he found out. That's a whole other discussion. But regardless, like, Dragon is not with the Marines like his father was. Right. And Luffy is not a revolutionary like his father is. They're all going their own way, taking their own path. And so I feel like him going his own way, in addition to protecting Luffy in this and the people who matter to Luffy on multiple situations over the course of the story, leads me to believe that he's not going to be evil. In fact, I think there's more of an opportunity for Shanks to be quote unquote evil than Dragon, honestly, at this point in the story. But I don't also think that Shanks is going to be evil either. I think now that we've seen Film Red, without spoiling things, but like, there's something that's in that movie regarding his backstory. For anyone who hasn't seen Film Red yet, if you want to know what it is, go watch our Film Red discussion we did a couple weeks ago. Parvision and I both saw it at the premiere in New York. But there is something in that movie that I think leads me to believe that Shanks is not going to be bad.
Yeah. But, and I want to shout out that the Godfather Shanks theory that I have is still supported.
There you go. Godfather Shanks all day, every day. There you go. But yeah, I also think that Dragon is not going to be evil. I'm right there with you. I think anyone who's the leader of a revolutionary army that wants to take down the world government, that is shown time and time again to be the thing that's keeping everybody down, can't be all bad. Even if he's going about it the wrong way, even if Luffy disagrees with the way that Dragon's going about certain things, or like by the end of the story, Dragon does something or kills somebody, and Luffy's like, no, wait, we can't do this. Even going back to what happens in this chapter, right? With Bonnie talking about Kuma, and you have that moment where Luffy's saying, like, yeah, you tell them, after Bonnie says it doesn't give them the right to kill him in regards to Kuma. And Luffy goes like, oh, go ahead.
No, I almost think that the similar thing where it's like, I think that Dragon might be encumbered by the responsibility that he has, in terms of like almost like a VV situation, but grander, where it's like Dragon is so methodical about like the way he does things, where Sabo is out there making a name for himself, and that's who everyone equates the revolutionaries to now. But and Dragon might have this grand master plan of like having to do something a specific way, whereas Luffy, we know, is just like if we get it done faster, that's better than waiting. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Quick, like, I'm sure you have a great idea, but let's just take care of the problem as fast as possible and deal with the ramifications afterwards. And Dragon might be okay with that. And that might be where like the differences come in with Dragon, where like he might be on the same side with the different direction.
Yeah. Lars, actually adding to what we were talking about a little while ago with the keyword potentially on Dragon and Kuma, Lars de Groof super chatted and said, do they even need an order or a keyword? Remember how Kuma submitted a Dragon earlier? Maybe all the pacifistas will automatically follow Dragon's orders. That's true. I mean, he was revolutionary. Yeah, it could be something where we haven't seen a situation in which Dragon has been faced against a pacifista. So yeah, exactly. Maybe if Dragon commands something, maybe the pacifista, maybe that is the keyword. It's Dragon's voice. Their voice activated or something. I like that idea. That's cool. That's really cool. Also, really cool idea too, because the whole thing with Dragon is we know he can manipulate wind in some way. That would be a really cool way to maybe activate them, is to have his voice carry through the wind so it reaches everything on the battlefield. Like that's actually kind of sick. I like that a lot. That Dragon would be the one to say the keywords. Yeah, that's cool. Right. Or it's just his voice and their voice activated with it. I love it. Love that idea. Very cool. Brandon King super chatted. I'm surprised we haven't even talked about this yet. Roger and Parr, any thoughts on the special people thing? Do you think that Blackbeard and Kuma are potentially the same race? I'm going to ask you this, Parr, just because this is in line with this. I mentioned in my live reaction, I just assumed when you see Kuma on one page with the black fire, and then Bonnie referring to them as special people, and us in the very last manga arc having the stuff with the Lunarians manipulating the fire, and then now this, like, Bonnie wasn't there in Wano, so she wouldn't know about the Lunarians, so she would refer to them as special people.
Right.
And here, Luffy and Chopper are like, wait, what do you mean special people? And we have the Seraphims. Like, that leads more credence to the idea, for me at least, that Kuma has some type of Lunarian blood. Because I saw some people theorizing like, oh, well, they experimented on King in the aftermath of Wano or whatever. But it's like, that's a quick turnaround. If they just experimented on King at the end of Wano and now all of a sudden they're Seraphims, like this is something that they had access to prior to Wano Country. And so if Kuma was a Lunarian or has Lunarian blood or whatever, that would explain the next step up in the process, right? Perfecting the pacifistas, doing the stuff with the Seraphim, maybe splicing that DNA with the other warlords, and that's how we get what we've gotten. Yeah.
Right. No, I think you're right. I think something that I've been grappling with ever since we got the Seraphim name is I'm not familiar with this lore. It's like Seraphims are fallen angels essentially, which are like very similar to what Lunarians look like in a lot of the context. And then they apparently had kids with humans, female women apparently, like human, and their kids were called Nephilim, and in a lot of contexts they were either very strong people or they were like giants essentially. I don't know the context of like true giants versus giants, but those are the two that was like the spawn of the Seraphim, Nephilim. Yeah. And now when I look at Kuma, and like you're saying, the back, like the fire in the back, but he doesn't have the white hair inherently. Exactly. Maybe he's an offspring of Lunarians, and that's why it's a special people, not exactly, because originally in the scans they said the special race, but then in the officials they said special people.
Right.
So it might not be like an entire new race, but rather similar to how Chimney from Fish from Ennie's
totally.
Where it's a Fishman human hybrid, where this could be a Lunarian human hybrid, and that's a very special thing because if what Oda was researching, right, you could research King, and King is a full Lunarian, but to get the Seraphims, you have to take Boa, who is a normal person, and you have to take Lunarian and mix that together. So then Kuma would be probably a better test subject, a learning piece to figure that out. And so that might be the play here, where the special people are Lunarian human hybrids.
And to take this one step further too, on the topic of like fallen angels, right? You also, when we first saw Kuma, he's carrying the Bible that's been with him since the very first time we saw him. He's holding the Bible. And then thinking back to it, right? Every other supernova at this point in the story has come up other than Aruj. Aruj showed up very briefly with the stuff with Kaido and his introduction, and we have not seen him since. And Aruj, wasn't he like the fallen monk? Wasn't that the whole thing, that like he was banished from the Sky Islands? And now we're seeing stuff in Egghead Island where there's like the clouds that have the same density and texture as the clouds that were there in Skypiea. So like, I do think this is an opportunity, just like how we had Law and Kid in Wano Country, and Apu and Killer and, you know, Drake and all of them, they were all involved. And we had Capone and Whole Cake Island. Who's to say all this stuff with Skypiea and the connections and the clouds, and now potentially the stuff with Fallen Angels and Seraphims, potentially I could see Aruj coming into Egghead Island as well. I would assume, prior to this revelation about the Seraphims and Fallen Angels and stuff, that Aruj would have been the supernova that connects to Elbaf, right? But we don't know how much time we've got left. We got about 3 to 5 years. We're in the final saga. We might not get a whole supernova dedicated story arc in the same way we're getting with Bonnie and Egghead and with like all the characters in Wano Country and Whole Cake and all that kind of stuff. We might not get that for Aruj. So better to introduce him in the story earlier if you can, and then maybe have more backstory or more things that come into play when we eventually get to Elbaf, if we do. But I do think there's opportunity here now for Urush to be involved in the story in some way during Egghead Island.
Yeah, I like this conversation. I was just like, oh man, this is why people love you, Roger. You connected because through the thing, I don't think a lot of people connected the Rouge thing. If you did, I didn't even like think about your Rouge in the context, because a lot of people were saying Blackbeard, Kuma, being like a similar thing, and then John Bart, because we see John Bart and he has a similar body type. But then your Rouge is a great example of a similar body type, the fallen angel on top of the Sky Islands, and then also him coming into the series in this way. I think it makes so much sense. Oh, and then we learn about all these people and why Oda held off on telling us about them.
Right, because that would also go back to the special people thing, right? Because, again, we don't truly fully know what Uruj is, or his full backstory or anything like that. This could be an opportunity to do that, right? Also, they kind of have like similar chins. They got kind of similar jawlines. Uruj and Kuma both look kind of Chad with their jawlines. So I feel that could also, obviously you don't want to read too much into that, but it could mean something. You never know.
It's interesting because like again, John Bart got highlighted for some reason in this thing, and like the specific thing that was said in the Viz was Vegapunk was interested in Kuma's muscle. That was the exact translation, and then something else. And then John Bart tanking a sniper shot, that lends itself to that. Mad Monk is inherently tied to the strength. And I'm going to add one more thing. This is something that people connected back to one of my theories about Chopper. A long time ago, a year ago, when I started my channel, one of my first main theories was about Chopper, and it was Chopper and Vegapunk and how they connected. And I was trying to figure out what human fruit Chopper had because it was so confusing, and trying to connect what human in the series Chopper's human form looked like. And at the time, what I connected to was Masira, because he seemed like a human that was very different, and he had the same body type. But now that we know that Kuma is a special person, I'm connecting him to Nephilim, which are like connected to like original human, like creationism, that kind of thing. It might be that Chopper's human form is also connected here to this similar body type, which is like when you think about the human fruit, you don't necessarily think of like a super yoked, like, you know, bodybuilder type of, you know, muscle mass kind of thing. Most of the humans in One Piece are fodder. Look super weak. So then it could be the special people that Chopper's fruit is actually connecting to is the Kuma thing. And that connects a larger dot that a lot of people theorize that Chopper's fruit was made by Vegapunk, considering that's not a fruit, it's a mushroom. And so many different things of Drum Island and various theory connections. So there's a connection somewhere.
I know, everything's swirling, everything's connected.
I like it.
I like it too. Let me see, oh my god, we have so many donations, so many people have been donating. Oh my god. Okay, this next one comes from Sanji, oh no, I'm sorry, I read your name wrong, I'm sorry, Tala Jahan, who super chatted and said Sanji's body is definitely going to go full Germa this arc. Finishing the Wano plotline of Sanji's, asking Zoro to put him down if it were to happen, the Aloha shirt, maybe we're going to see that happen. It is weird that he's the one of that group that does not get the Future Tech outfit. He's the one of the Aloha shirt. So I actually think that could potentially mean something, I like that. That it's because he kind of already inherently has Vinsmoke powers. Neat.
I'm so curious to see. Earlier I was saying that the boots might be like a trap card, essentially. I'm so curious to see what these outfits mean, why Oda did this distinction. Jinbei was also given a floral shirt too. We don't know if that was a choice or that was an automatic situation.
I don't know.
So,
he just thinks that Jinbei and Sanji are chill like that. That's all. I don't know. There's no real explanation. $150 from Rory Ryan. Massive shout out to Rory Ryan. 150 Australian dollars, saying, "Good day from down under. I'm so glad that I could finally catch a live stream for the second time in 5 years of following you. I love your amazing energy. Keep it up, mate. Zoro Skywalker for life." Let's go, Rory Ryan. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Not only thank you for that massive donation, but also happy to see someone else is based in their opinion that we should absolutely get Zoro wielding a lightsaber at some point during this arc. We've gone over that on multiple situations, but again, that was a $150 donation, so I got to give you one of these. Your own standalone Rory. Nakama! Thank you very, very much, Rory. Greatly appreciate that. Thank you, Rory. Let me see. We're going to scroll a little bit further up. Oh my goodness. There's a lot of like $2 ones that are kind of repeating the same thing, talking about like the race and Kuma. We sort of went over that already. Let's see. This one comes from Mackerel, who super chatted and said, with a $10 donation, "I want a cover story where Cammy and Papug arrive at Wano and meet the Kozukis. Papug and Kinemon can start a new clothing line called the Ronin, and we could even have Cammy marry Momonosuke or Kawamatsu." Do you want to see Fishman Island and Wano connections like that? You want to see Cammy marry
I have
Momo?
A few theories, well, not exactly that line of thinking, but connecting Fishman Island to that regard. But something about Papug is he's probably coming back in the story because when Sabo was being touted as the Emperor, Flame Emperor in that panel, I think it was 1060 or 1053 or something, 1054. We see a bunch of banners, and it's the Shimotsuki flag, for example,
right.
Which is, we're assuming Shimotsuki Island, that's connecting to the revolutionaries because that's the whole revolutionary front. We also see Papag's flag. Right next to the Shimotsuki flag. So I'm imagining that there's going to be some kind of connection. And then you add Kinnimon's fruit, and then Papag's clothing line. I don't know. There is a connection there. I don't know how it's going to look like, but definitely I don't know if there's any marriage is going on between the two.
Mermaid marriages, I don't know, but I wanted to read it because it was a very bizarre one. Let me see. We have so many. Oh my God. I'm like trying to scroll through. A lot of these are just so nice. Shout out. I'll make sure to shout out all your names at the ending because a lot of these are just nice, saying, love you both. Been here since 2017. Let me see that shirt, Roger. The back looks sick. I don't think Law is going down. This one's from Flan. There you go. There's my film red shirt right there.
Yeah.
Thank you very much to Flan Demand 91. We've got, let's see, Mike Moore donating another $10, saying Toki and Buggy couldn't get to Laugh-Tale, maybe because they were Devil Fruit users. What if Luffy loses to Blackbeard, gets his fruit stolen, and then Law saves him with the surgery? That would allow Luffy to go and post Laugh-Tale fight with Blackbeard. That's an interesting, let me read this again. Maybe the reason characters couldn't get to Laugh-Tale was because they had Devil Fruit users. What if Luffy loses to Blackbeard and gets his fruit stolen, but Law saves him with the surgery? I mean, that would be wild.
Yeah.
If Luffy gets his fruit stolen by Blackbeard and potentially dies in that process, and the Law revives him, and that brings him back. And then that's an interesting story tie too, because like more and more we're seeing in the story this thing with Haki versus Devil Fruit, right? And like how Law is saying, look, that's the weakness of all these Devil Fruit users, is you all are weak to water. Meanwhile, my crew, they don't have Devil Fruits. Penguin's able to go underwater, shoot water bombs at you. We see this in Film Red with Shanks' crew. A lot of them are just using Haki. They're not using Devil Fruit powers. So I do, wonder if maybe the final fight against Blackbeard, how wild would that be? If Luffy fights Blackbeard using his fruit, and Luffy beats him utilizing Haki. I mean, that would be insane. I certainly never even thought of that before.
Yeah. I'm not saying that I particularly agree with this storyline, but I could see it making sense in that here's another way, merit to this idea is that a lot of people denounce what Luffy has done because of the Nika fruit. Right. So it would be a cool thing to see him somehow the Nika fruit leaves him. He's still him. And someone else eats the fruit, and we see that they're not capable of anything.
Exactly. You're not, and that goes back to Blackbeard, right? You're not the man Roger was waiting for. You're not a real D, right? You're not Joy Boy. So even if Blackbeard's like, oh, I'm going to get Luffy's fruit, it's the most ridiculous mythical zone, whatever, and he steals it from him and attempts to eat it or something, but he can't use the powers. He's not able to utilize Gear 5. He can't even go Gear 2 because he doesn't know how the fruit works. You know what I mean? Like, Blackbeard's just, he can instinctively know, okay, well, Whitebeard can do earthquakes. So, okay, boom, I do this with my hand, I can create an earthquake. But Luffy's fruit doesn't work like that. Luffy, for the longest time, we thought for the longest time, it was a rubber fruit. It was a Gummo Gummo no Mi. So
now it's about dreaming. It's about like,
imagination and stuff. And Blackbeard doesn't have that. He's the antithesis of Luffy, right? I kind of love the idea that I don't know if the story would work in that way, but that, Luffy would die, Blackbeard would take his fruit, try to use it, not be able to use it, and Law gives him the immortality surgery, sacrifices himself, and Luffy's able to actually fight Blackbeard, but is only utilizing Haki and who he is as a person, because he's naturally meant to. I'm getting chills. I never ever even considered that idea for the story. But it would literally be him saying, like, you're not that guy, pal, at the end to Blackbeard. Wow, that's really cool, man. Cool idea. Meshman donated and said, I don't know if what I'm about to say is going to make sense, but the talk with Dragon and Shaka has me wondering, would it be possible that there are still, let me read this again. Would it be possible that we are getting really close to Luffy meeting up with him once again in regards to Dragon and Shaka talking, that potentially Luffy meets Dragon by the end of the arc?
Wait, Han, reread that to me?
Yeah. I know, I had to read it twice too because the wording was kind of weird. Because they even said, Mashman even said at the beginning, I don't know if what I'm about to say makes any sense. But the talk with Dragon and Shaka, ... Would it be possible that we're getting close to Luffy meeting up with him once again in regards to Dragon?
Oh, okay. I don't know if it's in this arc, but it's definitely a setup to that, right? Like Shaka will be able to teach Luffy or help him know Dragon a little bit more, considering what I was saying earlier, that it seems like there's some close bond between the two. Yeah. So in terms of, it doesn't seem like even Garp has that kind of relationship with Dragon in to a certain extent. So it might be that Vegapunk is, or Shaka specifically, might be one of the best people in the entire series, besides Ivankov, I guess, like that Luffy is going to be directly interacting with, that could tell him a lot about Dragon. But with Ivankov, and this will be something that I'll bring up on my stream with the Dragon Vegapunk thing. I have a different theory I want to share with you.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Well, I want to take it right now. It's a little bit long.
Save it. Save it for your stream. We're literally going to hop over to your stream, so save it. Yeah.
Right. So with the Dragon thing, it might be different because Dragon and Ivankov's like it doesn't seem like Ivankov knows everything about Dragon, but like, because he didn't even know about Luffy. Whereas it might be different with Vegapunk. Vegapunk might know a lot more about Dragon, given how smart he is, given how close they seem. So I could definitely see us learning a lot about Dragon. I don't know about meeting him.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I don't think we're going to necessarily meet him this arc, but I do think we're going to find out a lot about him, and I do think we're going to leave Egghead Island knowing a lot more about Dragon than we knew going into it. Yeah. I see in the chat, Mashman's like, sorry, English isn't my first language, so my wording is odd. Dude, don't worry about it. You did fine. Yeah. We still got there. So you're doing great. Don't worry about it at all. Keep it up. Keep up the great work. Hollow Avarice sent 2 separate donations, so I'm going to read them together. One $10 and one $5, and they just like came in one after the other, so I'm going to read this. Oda has always made different races in the world feel connected, but I've always felt like the Skypians are the only race that have never really been fully tied in. Do you think there's a potential that they could tie in more with the Lunarians or Rouge like you were discussing? And also, in relation to what Par was saying, Seraphim aren't always fallen angels, but they are the highest rank and the most powerful among the angels.
Do you have a synthesis on that of the Skypians?
I kind of like the thing about like the highest rank and the most powerful of the angels with the thing with the Seraphim. I mean, that kind of goes in line with what we discussed earlier with Uruj potentially tying to Kuma potentially tying to the special race, Lunarians. I think we kind of exhausted that topic already, but if you have any other thought on it.
Yeah, going to the earlier part of the Skypian and Lunarian connection. So something in my recent videos, so I have like an Amatsuki, in the thumbnail says Amatsuki, or Catfished. That's talking about a civil war that might have happened on Wano in the Void Century. And then one of my 2 videos ago, I think it's about the Celestial Dragons, I talk about how there might have been a civil war on Fishman Island. And that being said, Oda has been setting out this like foundation for the Void Century of civil wars, where the Long Legs versus Long Arm tribe, they had a 1,000-year war that was just dropped to us in some capacity, but we didn't get any details about it other than Brooke's backstory. And so I feel like every race that we've seen has a distinct civil war built into their culture. And Lunarians and Skypians, well, that's an easy one. Black Wings, White Wings, they're connected somehow.
Right.
It's like, how are we gonna connect them, right? And a civil war seems right on the nose with that kind of thing.
And it also, again, it goes back to the stuff with the Rouge, again, that we'd mentioned previously, and then I kind of like alluded to in regards to when we first met him, right? When he first had the epitaph of the Mad Monk, right? Mad Monk, as some people call him. But like, there is something there that could potentially tie to a civil war between the two of them, and I think could lead to, once again, him being involved in this story arc if Oda chooses to throw him in there. But again, there's so much other information that's being thrown, and it's like, man, oh man, oh man, I don't know how he's gonna fit it all in.
Yeah. There's so much hit. The thing is, like we were saying, we're talking about so many things for the future of the story, and it's like we only have 5 years, but it feels so right. All of these different ideas.
Yeah, the pacing is like perfect right now. Yeah. If One Piece can remain, I said this on multiple occasions in the past few reactions. If One Piece remains like this for the end of the series, I'm gonna be so happy, because like. There's no time for filler anymore. There's no time for, here are 20 different members of Big Mom's families that all need their own names. Like, you don't need that anymore. Now it's like important information.
and the thing is, what's interesting about what you just said, we are getting introduced to 6 satellites of Vegapunk, which is something new. But even that,
like the 6, well, go ahead,
because it's being done so well, in my opinion,
right?
And like I guess my question to you is, if we keep this pace, can you breathe, Roger? Because I cannot breathe after these chapters sometimes. Like, dude, I blow
my voice out every single live reaction. That's why I do One Piece stream a week. See, I used to do, you know this, but I used to do reaction videos, separate review videos, and theory videos all in the same week, in addition to news videos, in addition to all of my regular Nintendo content and streams and everything like that. So I was blowing my voice out. It was completely unhealthy. The reason why I do it in one stream is I could save my voice, have it all for Sunday morning. I look forward to it. This is like church for me. Like, I know everyone jokes and says Goda or whatever, but like, this is my Sunday morning. I wake up, I get my cup of coffee, I hang out with all of you, and we enter the church of One Piece. I mean, it's like, this is my routine on Sundays. So yeah, I love it. Yeah. And if everything continues like this, that's great, because that means that's fantastic content moving forward for the rest of it, and I get to enjoy the journey with you and everybody else, man. It's therapy. It's great. Yeah.
One Piece will literally be life by the end of it if it continues this pace, because
it's so good.
I feel like it's so hard to be casual with these kind of chapters. Yeah. Like, you just want to be more involved, and I think like with this theme that like it's so core to the demographic that watches this, like the gaming stuff, and it's just it's a great way to liven.
I know. And we've been waiting for so much of the information too for such a long time between Vegapunk and the Revolutionaries, that like to finally see this come to fruition in a chapter in which we get Law versus Blackbeard, not off screened, because I think, again, if this was a different point in the story, that probably would have been off screen.
Yeah.
Not being off screen, getting important information there, knowing we're going to probably get some answers about Devil Fruits during this arc, because they're throwing so much Blackbeard stuff at us, because of all the stuff with Lilith. And going back to one other thing you said before we get to these last 2 donations, is I think it's so cool how he's introducing these paths of Vegapunk or whatever, these different, like the 6 different versions of him and all the different parts of his personality, because he's implementing them in a way where each one is delivering new information to us. It's not just like a name and a new character. It's like you had this Atlas, right? Representing violence, introducing the stuff with these experimented on sea beasts, the stuff with the holograms, the stuff with the technology to bring food to everybody in the world. You've got Lilith introducing the stuff with the anti-gravity, with the robots, the stuff that Frankie's been, reading up on and trying to replicate for so long. Like, I think each one moving forward is going to have something similar. And obviously Shaka, that's obviously going to be our tie to Dragon in some way. So maybe that's where we get the information about the Revolutionaries. So again, it's perfect. I see JD Legend, by the way, in the chat as well. Jay coming in at the end of the stream. Welcome, Jay. Shout out to JD Legend, the GOAT. Welcome, Jay. Yeah, I feel like Egghead Island has been so unbelievably good. We got a super chat. This one comes from Sylar, who says, Roger, if you and Par look closely at the cover, it looks like Pudding is actually carrying a burnt-up Vivre card. That might explain why she's not certain Big Mom is dead, because it happened behind her back. So let's actually go real quick to the cover page.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Wow. You can see she is chucking away a burnt up Vivre card. Wow.
What?
How did I miss that? Okay, hold on. On right here, if you zoom in on the page, on Viz, cover story, look at what's coming out of her hand. She's throwing something back. Her hands are tied like this, and something's flying out of her hands, and it does look almost like a burnt up Vivre card or something. That is wild. Did you notice that before?
I didn't, and this is crazy, but what I will say is that there seems to be a copy and paste of that thing on the other side of the panel, so it could just be like a dust animation, but the positioning behind her hand.
Oh, yeah, I see it now. Yeah. So what Parv is talking about, if you look, there's like the dust on one side, and then there's like the other part coming out of her hand on the other, but the positioning is weird. It does leave it up to interpretation. It might be dust. But that is, I mean, if that's actually what that is, and she's trying to hide the burning up Vivre card from them, I mean, that is really, really cool.
Yeah. Because I mean, we had the same shock when we both zoomed in and we're like, hold on, that's
because
crazy.
Thinking about the timing again too, right? That would have been during the raid on Onigashima. right?
And she should have
and she should have a Viva card for Big Mom, of course.
Yeah, they that was a thing to control the homies when people weren't around, right? The Viva card. So
wow, man, oh man,
that would be wild if that's the confidence that she has, right?
Yeah.
That she's alive because she just has the paper.
She just knows. Yeah, exactly. Wow.
Oh,
wow.
I think that's a crazy thing, in not just for this scene, but the entire because something that I was thinking about was the way Pudding was responding to about Big Mom's situation is almost like the Straw Hat crew in terms of when Luffy was pronounced dead, they didn't believe it, right?
Yeah, whatever, fine.
They didn't have a Viva card, whereas the Big Mom Pirates could have a Viva card of Big Mom, and so that is a pseudo way of just immense belief, and that's honestly so smart as a pirate captain crew to just have that.
And
so
that
this
also,
is I love
that
this.
makes sense. That Pudding would be the one to have it for two reasons too, because Saeed Abdo in the chat just said something that is very important to note. He mentions King Bomb said in Whole Cake Island that Big Mom's children are not allowed to have her Viva cards. But do you remember what Pudding's power is? Pudding has memory manipulation. So she can hold the Viva card for herself and not let anybody else know and have sort of this trump card over the rest of the Big Mom Pirates. I love that. I love that. In fact, that information about King Bomb saying that actually leads more credence to the fact that Pudding would be the one to have it.
Yeah, because Pudding is that character to be a spy, essentially.
Right. Because she
that's her entire role. Yeah.
Oh, I love this. And
she's a professional liar.
It goes back again to what we were saying in that panel where we see her in the cell talking to Blackbeard's other people, right? Where she's like smiling. She's not really, she doesn't look angry. She's not crying. She's not scared. She's like determined.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then the confidence which they're saying, the guy we're fighting right now is the guy that killed Big Mom, and she's unfazed. Because she knows there's no way. And Big Mom also does say when Law and Kid, smack her down in that hole, she's like, I'll be back for you, curse you, Law, curse you, Kid. So
and the other part of the line Pudding thing, I forgot to mention this part when I was talking about the stronger thing, Legends kicking horse. But the thing with Big Mom and Kaido is a lot of people think that they're swimming in the lava right now. So kicking could just be like, you refer that with swimming, right? So they could still be kicking as so that literally
that's interesting. Still kicking around. I didn't even think about that. But the play on I like that a lot. Wow. That was awesome. Wow, that went on a whole different tangent. That was actually great. Sylar, man, MVP donation of the week right there. Donation message. That's I never would have noticed that ever. This is why I love doing this live, because then people point stuff out to me that we would not normally see in our comment section when we're uploading later. I love it. Mike Moore super chatted saying, guys, why is Luffy the only one that says Luffy in a different future when he's aged differently? That's actually a good point, Mike. I don't know. Is that
why
because
Luffy
when Bonnie ages Luffy up to be age 70 for his disguise, and she ages up Chopper and she ages down Jinbei, it says in the translation, it says Luffy age 70, Monkey D. Luffy, and then underneath it in parentheses it says in a different future. Meaning like our Luffy at age 70 is not going to look like this. I am assuming that's a play on what Oda does sometimes with like the good future, bad future versions of characters. Because you know how like he drew Luffy in his 50s and like the good ending and the bad ending. And one, he's like fat and he's talking about meat. And the other one, he looks basically like Roger and Garp.
Right.
So I think it's kind of that. I think it's meant to be like, this is what Luffy age 70 would look like in the bad end version of the SBS before that we saw, where he was just obsessed with meat. Yeah, it's bad ending age 70 Luffy.
Yeah, what was interesting about this was my immediate thought was it looked like somebody, and it's not a one-to-one, but the person that my chat ended up realizing who I was thinking of was King Riku. Like, he has the same hair thingy, like the one on top.
Interesting, on the top and then on the sides,
I was wondering, is this different future, like, related to what King Riku went through or something like that?
See, I would assume different future is a weird wording for it, but I would assume it's the kind of thing where it's like the bad ending, right? The bad future for Luffy is that he doesn't accomplish his dreams. So if Bonnie fast forwards Luffy to just be old and he doesn't accomplish his dreams, that's what he's going to look like. But if Luffy manages to become Pirate King and accomplish all his goals and achieve his dreams, he's going to look differently. I think the wording is definitely weird, and then putting that parentheses in a different future thing is weird, because then we get into this whole thing of like, is Bonnie able to transcend universes to age people differently? Like,
it might be that because
in
this situation, Luffy ran. So it might be that like because of the recency, that's like what was the foundation as to what future we're looking at. Like a future where Luffy ran.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly.
Whereas like the future that Luffy normally would go to is fighting Kuma. Had he beaten the Kuma and Bonnie aged him up, then maybe he would get
been different. Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. In a different future is definitely a weird way to word it, though, for sure. Yeah. I do wonder if that'll come back. I just, the one I felt the most bad for was poor Chopper. Poor old man Chopper, all wrinkly in his reindeer form, like, yo, Bonnie, could you change me, man? Like, I thought it was so cute. Mr. Bushido, by the way, super chatted just very quickly and said, I agree that Jean Bart could potentially be the same race as Kuma. So going back to that as well. All right. We have been going for 2.5 hours already. We still have another stream on your end, and I've got Hunter x Hunter to react to. So we got a lot of RogersBase content still to come today. But before we sign off and go and send everybody over to Parv's stream, I really quickly want to give some shout-outs to everybody who donated and everybody who came through as a member, because we had so much love in the chat today. So please, if you will, Parv, allow me the opportunity to just say thank you to everybody. And give them a big nakama. So here we go. Shout outs to, let me see, Roberto, Velinor, Gabriel Moran, Luceller, Caesar D. Clown, Seraph Dalgan, Denjen, Alejandro Solis, Sam Neris, Rob Harley, Chaos Lurlin with the 33 months, incredible, Mike Mancool, Mimoji, Rory Ryan, Ripto's Ragin' Cajun Chicken, Brandon King. By the way, I love Ripto's Ragin' Cajun Chicken. That's an incredible name. I love it. Shout out to that One Piece Talk in the chat as well. Love to see you in here. Neku Tennyson, Brandon King, Lars the Groof, Tala Jahan, Roxy Ortiz, Post Time Skip Sam, Ozzy Edwards, Platinum 42, Tyler Bird, Andrew McCarroll, Radiant Burrito, Monkey D Primo, Flandeman 91, Theophile Corio, Frank K. Cerrone, Mashman, Eric McKenna, Mr. Fan, Sylar, Nat, and Mr. Bushido, and then finally, who just joined, Sletton. So to all of you, Nakama, thank you for all your support. Greatly appreciate it. It was wild too, because normally my chat's members only, as you know, Parv. Normally my chat is members only. But I figured since you had already read the chapter, and since I was remaining unspoiled, I'm like, well, I'll just keep it all open, have my subscribers be able to participate as well today too. So they got sort of like a free stream out of this. It's great. So my members got to talk and my subscribers got to talk. And it was really just a lot of fun. So once again, massive thank you, Parv. Thank you for joining me. We are going to go raid Parv right now. So if one of my mods could please start spamming his channel link in the chat, that would be incredible. We're going to go over to his stream. We're going to be talking more One Piece. And then later today on Twitch, I'm going to be live streaming my live reaction to the new chapter of Hunter x Hunter. That will then be uploaded to my VOD channel. So go follow the VOD channel. Go follow Parv. Make sure to leave a like on this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, we'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you for having me, Roger.
Of course, Parv, anytime, of course. All right, off to your stream now.